are not live. This is very pre-recorded, but we live in the house.
I'm here. You're here.
We live.
We're live.
We got bike wraps. Andrew,
the bike wraps guy.
The bike wraps guy.
What's happening, man? Thanks
This
for coming out.
Yeah, Scot Ripple co-hosting.
Yep.
As most usual. Most usual this season. I've had a heavy mountain bike focus season. It's been more mountain bike than skate, but then
Really?
I think we're
It's because mountain biking's better.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you trying to get the skaters to turn on us?
Yeah. We're trying to keep a balance. Here,
trying to keep that balance. No, it's actually I think we have some of the skate guests were kind of heavier towards the end of the season. But yeah, honestly, it's just like there's just so much mountain bike stuff to talk about. There's a lot of mountain bike stuff in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can attest.
Yes, very much.
And before I go too far, this is episode 8. This is episode 8.
Is it?
I figured it out first go round. That's good.
Man, I got to do better. I just show up and go, I don't know. What are we doing?
You're not taking note of what episode
not
we're
at all.
on.
I don't even know what season we're in. What is it, 4?
It is season 4. Yeah, good job.
All
right. But yeah, even I think it's just gonna have to make the thumbnails.
Mm-hmm.
That's what really gets me. Gets me locked in.
Oh yeah, you have to be committed for that.
I do. But yeah, let's talk about some bike wraps, dude. I'm selfish. I'm gonna start with the cars.
All right. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, that's where it started, right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
where
It is where it started. Yeah, so it's
perfect.
like it's natural, and we're getting to the stuff that I want to talk about.
Right.
So you started before bike wraps ever started. You were wrapping cars.
Yep.
All right.
Like 2009, I started wrapping cars.
Yeah.
I basically wanted to wrap my car. I actually just wanted to wrap it matte black.
Started with wrapping your own car.
Yeah,
I feel like that's most wrap companies.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I got a quote. I was like, I can't pay $4,000.
Totally, right?
I'm like, I think I could do it myself. And
yeah.
I bought some vinyl. Failed miserably. I threw away about 25 feet of vinyl my first time, which equals out to about $400.
That's a burn.
Yeah.
Yep.
After already purchasing a whole entire roll of material to wrap my car.
Right. So you're committed.
Yeah. I'm like, I have to figure this out now. So
right.
I decided maybe I should watch a YouTube video.
There we go.
So I watched a YouTube video, kind of figured it out. Spent 6 hours wrapping my hood, which now in this day would probably take me 30 minutes.
Live and learn.
Yeah, I had a Nismo 350Z, which if you know the car is not an easy car to wrap.
It's a curvy car.
Very curvy car, big wing, very smooth bumper. A lot of things you don't want when you're wrapping a car, which honestly I feel like it helped because I started out with one of the hardest canvases to wrap on, basically.
Right.
Like you got seasoned into the job.
Exactly. Yeah. So then a friend he's like, I want to wrap my car, and I'm like, all right. And then another friend, and then a friend of a friend, and then it was like, all right, now I don't even know who these people are that are calling.
I got to start
you
charging for this.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I had a car detailing business before that, or during that actually.
Yeah.
I was doing mobile detailing just a little bit here and there on the side, and so it was kind of a natural progression to go into that. And then I started to realize I can make more money vinyl wrapping than I could detailing, so I kind of pushed detailing to the side and started vinyl wrapping more. Nice. And it worked out. I got some good clientele. I got a shop with a couple of friends and just kept wrapping stuff.
Well, that's cool too, because like I feel like detailing is a kind of not that you use similar tools or like a lot of like kind of like
you're gonna clay bar
stuff.
like if you're gonna wrap a car properly, you're gonna clay bar the car. So you're going to be doing one of the biggest processes in detailing as well. So you're
like half set up.
Yeah,
at that rate.
Exactly. So it's taking the car apart, cleaning the car really well, getting all the dirt out of all the crevices and stuff like that, and then preparing it to wrap. Right. So yeah, it kind of was a natural progression to kind of fall into that.
Right. And cleaning, having a clean surface is like important for any wrap. Right?
Yeah, 100%. Because vinyl, when you pull it off of the backing paper, it's static, so it's going to pick up any dust and dirt that's around. So after every wrap, I would mop the floor in my shop. Like it was pristine at all times. I mean, I'm literally blowing the dirt out from under the headlights. Like you're getting dirt out of every crevice that it could possibly come out, because it will come out when you go to wrap it. So
it's like it's more likely to come out because you're like have a static, sticky thing that's coming
exactly.
in.
Yeah, especially like under the headlights. That's a prime example. You'll never wrap a bumper in one go. You have to lift it up, reposition it a couple of times. Every time you lift it up, you're creating static, and you're just going to pull that dirt right out from underneath the headlight. Or
so
right
being in a clean environment is
very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Trip.
That's rough.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, you could wrap it without a clean environment. It'll just look like you wrapped it without a clean environment.
Yeah.
the wrap guys will know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Yep.
So you were wrapping cars. How long were you doing that? And where were you doing that?
That was in Massachusetts, actually.
Okay.
I spent my whole life in Massachusetts until moving here 3 years ago. But yeah, I was wrapping cars. I was kind of just doing it on the side here and there. And then my wife got an opportunity to leave her job because we had enough work. And I was like, if you want to do it, go for it. So she ended up working full-time vinyl wrapping cars. Well, I still actually had a full-time job all through this. And
wow.
I was just kind of doing this on the side and on the weekends and stuff like that. My schedule worked out good. I was out of work at noon, so I had the whole day to kind of work. So I could get a lot done in that time frame.
Gotcha. Was there like a keystone moment that went from you working the normal job to saying like I'm rapping full time?
When I moved here, actually.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I had a full-time job for 17 years. I worked for the same company. I never left. I was operations manager. I had a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty happy with the job most of the time, and I was making good money on the side. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to kind of keep doing this. I was mostly wrapping mobile. I had my own shop for a while, but I got rid of it, and I was doing wrapping for other shops. So I would go into car audio shops or tint shops or detailing shops, and I would do installs inside
like
of their
hired
shop.
gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I was outsourced by all these shops, so I didn't need my own shop anymore.
Gotcha.
So it worked out pretty good, and I could work after hours, which is actually better for them because no one's there. So I had keys to the shops. I would just go in, wrap the car, and then leave at night.
Right.
So it worked out really well. Did that for probably about 7 years.
Oh wow, that's a cool setup actually.
Yeah, it was really nice. I had no overhead. I could show up when at the hours I wanted to. A lot of stuff needed to be done quick. Like the guy would message me Monday, "Hey, this car needs to be done by Friday." Things like that.
Yeah.
So I would have to turn it around pretty quickly, but I could do it on my own time. So
Was it
pretty
hard
nice.
to go into other places and need that clean environment?
Yes, that was definitely a tough part.
That's a trip.
Yeah, so the detailing shop was pretty good. They kept a clean shop because they were always detailing, so they're always cleaning the floor and stuff like that. So that one was easy. The car audio shop, not so much. I mean, they're literally cutting wood inside of the shop. So,
Right.
Literally sawdust everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So for a while, he actually had a shop that a garage set up for us to use, and then I eventually just had to work something out where he kept it clean in the area I was going to work.
Yeah, because you're like on, hey, bro. I can't work
exactly.
in this kind of atmosphere. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of the stuff I did was not, when you think of vinyl wrapping, a lot of people think of color change, like full color change wrap. A lot of what I did was chrome deletes and racing stripes. I would say that was probably about 80% of my work was chrome deletes and racing stripes. So I was doing a lot of that. Yeah. Which those are very good money. You don't need a ton of material, stuff like that. It's not a lot of time. It's a lot of prep work, especially racing stripes. You got to plan that out before you get there.
Sure.
But it was a lot of that type of work. That was kind of the bulk of what I did.
Yeah, because I think that like if somebody's thinking about like what can I do to my car to transform it quickly but not maybe wrap the whole thing, those two are probably good candidates.
Exactly. Yeah. So you delete your chrome trim, you kind of give it a little sportier look. You add some racing stripes, and a lot of times the racing stripes would be like, there was one guy I remember specifically, he had a Ferrari, I forget what model it was, but it came with these special stripes, and he wanted those matching stripes on his Porsche. So we did those exact same stripes on his Porsche.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's stuff like that. Like people have a style of racing stripe they like, or we did a bunch of racing stripes that were Italian flag colors going up the car, like Ferraris and Lamborghinis and stuff like that. So, so it was pretty cool, all different stuff.
Yeah, and I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but did that set you up for getting into working on bikes and lining up lines and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. So when I wasn't into mountain biking, I probably started about 5 years ago mountain biking, and kind of the same thing that happened with the cars. Somehow I always end up finding a way to make money with my hobby. I don't know how it happens, but
I think we all aim for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I bought a YT Jeffsy. It came with an Invisiframe kit, so the guy gave it to me when I bought it, and he was like, I tried installing it. He's like, I threw away the first piece because I couldn't do it. So he's like, if you want, you can have it, and with the bike and whatever. I was like, all right. I installed it, and I said, I will never do one of these again. It took me 6 hours to install it. I was like, man, this is crazy. I was like, I am never doing this again. Like, this is after years of vinyl wrapping.
So you thought you were just going to easy peasy.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Same thing. Never watched any videos.
Yeah.
I didn't know it. I was just like, I got this. I've wrapped cars. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I honestly, I assumed that. I would be like, if I were standing next to you, I'd be like, well, dude, you got this.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just laying material on something, you know?
How different can it be?
Yeah, exactly. And then, I said I would never do them again. And then a friend convinced me to do his bike. And then another friend's like, oh, can you wrap my bike? And I'm like, all right. So I started doing clear wraps on the side.
Okay.
Same thing. I stopped doing cars at this point. This was right at the start of COVID. I started mountain biking right before COVID. Start of COVID, everybody kind of stopped modifying their cars, it seemed like. So business kind of died down. My wife ended up getting a regular job. And then I just was mountain biking, and I was just doing my regular job. And then got into mountain biking, wrapped my bike, wrapped the friends, did another friends, and I was like, okay, this is getting okay. I can kind of do this.
Yeah.
I can probably, charge a little bit of money, make some extra money here and there. So what I vowed from that day forward was I would not spend any money on my bike unless I made it from doing bikes.
Oh, very cool.
So I just continued to just do clear wraps in Massachusetts, and before I knew it, I had done hundreds of them.
Nice.
Yeah, so then that kind of segued into me moving here and trying to do bikes here. I was like, I'm in a place where mountain biking is not that crazy like it is here, and I'm this busy doing bikes. I'm like, maybe if I go to somewhere where mountain biking is the only thing or the big thing, I can continue to do this and maybe just do this instead of having a full-time job. So
yeah, well, that's interesting because I was actually thinking that it was the other way around, that you came to Northwest Arkansas and then started wrapping bikes, but it was actually in Massachusetts that you did it.
Yeah.
Right.
So in Massachusetts there was already there's a scene there, obviously a mountain bike scene. Can you talk about like the differences from when you started wrapping bikes then and the appeal versus where you're at now, and or maybe even when you moved? Let's just start to when you moved. Like how was it when you started wrapping? How many clients you were getting, and then when you moved here, like how was that transition?
I was doing probably 1 or 2, maybe 3 a week in Massachusetts. I would say on a normal-ish week here, I could do 6 or 7.
Okay.
And that transition was almost immediately. I got here, I introduced myself to a few bike shops.
And the need was there.
Yeah, and it was just the bike shops don't want to do it. Nobody wants to do clear wraps.
Interesting.
So they would easily recommend me. It was no questions asked. They were recommending me.
And Scott, I remember when Scott, you got your first clear wrap. I don't know what bike was that you got that on.
It was the Jeffsy.
It was the Jeffsy. Funny story.
And I couldn't find anybody.
They wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I did, and they go, "We got a guy that does it. Bring your bike. He can do it like on this day."
Yeah.
And I didn't think much of it. I just thought he was an employee. But now, just you saying that, I was like, he was an employee.
He
was just some sidekick guy.
Some dude.
Yeah. Because another thing is, like, if you go into a bike shop, their floor is not pristine. They're not. There's dust. There's dirt. They're working on bikes. Like, I'm not working on bikes. I am putting clear wrap on bikes. So
now here's another thing I got to point out, because this is what happened to me. Get my bike. I go pick it up. It's ready, and I went straight to the trails and met my buddy, and we went down this rock garden, and my handlebars totally turned sideways. Wheel still going this way. Cartwheeled my bike down the thing. Brand new bike, never rode it.
Oh, wow.
Got it wrapped first.
Yeah.
You have to know how to like disassemble and reassemble
Yeah.
bikes.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And I would say that part comes more into play when I'm doing color change wraps. So with color change wraps, I am fully disassembled. I'm taking the brakes out if it has internal routing.
You're going
I'm taking
to
the shifter
frame.
out. Yeah, I am just a frame.
Are you full on reassembling, like re-greasing?
Oh,
everything?
yeah. So sometimes I will let people know if their bearings are bad and things like that, because I can see that this might be the first time that bearing's ever been opened when I'm taking their rear triangle off, things like that. So.
That would be the case if you were doing my bike.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I think you're almost doing a service, because you're kind of like, you're not being a bike mechanic, but you're being like maybe like a service advisor.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be
Yeah.
pretty close.
It's valuable. Yeah, for sure.
So you're adding value to the fact that you're doing that, but you're also like, hey, somebody else is going to put eyes on my bike and take it apart, put it back together, and
exactly. Yeah.
see what I
But
need.
it's also important to be a good mechanic in the sense that, you know, this guy obviously didn't torque it to spec. My bad for not even checking, but I was just so stoked that I was like ready to ride it, assuming that, you know, I picked
Everything
it up
would
at
be
a
good.
bike shop. Like,
Yeah, that was a little different because I think you were at a bike shop. It's like you're assuming that I'm walking out of a bike shop, I should be good to shred a trail.
Yeah, and I mean this is easily a death machine. Like it's important. To, like,
it's important to
make
tighten.
sure that stuff's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of responsibility on your behalf.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And there actually have been multiple occasions now that I've kind of just thought about it where I've either tightened something that was loose or informed the customer that something was up with their bike. Like some of them were stuff that they got from a bike shop locally, and you know they never checked something. Like, hey, this is extremely loose, so you might want to have, you know, bring it back to the shop and have them look at it.
And that's good service, man, because you know you are seeing that, and I bet you there's a lot of people that are just like, hey, I'm just wrapping the bike. Your stuff was loose, but that's not my problem.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah,
that's lame. You know?
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of how when you build a business. I mean, that's one of the things. It's like you're not just selling what you do; you're selling yourself. You're selling what, you know, you as a person bring to the table. When you talk to me, you know that I'm a straight up person, and I'm going to tell you how it is, and I'm going to be honest with you about your bike.
I would even sell that as a bike wrap. You probably do, but I mean, just, you know, hey, and
or like
by
a
the
part
way,
of the service.
By the way, everything's to spec. I noticed some things were loose when you brought it in, but I took care of it, you know, and just let them know.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Because I would come back if somebody did that. You know, it's like, oh, you were, you know,
went above and beyond.
Yeah.
Well, I would say you definitely, after a few of the experiences that you had, there were some people you were not going back to with your wrap.
Oh,
so,
yeah. I didn't go
you were
there.
convinced like they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
and my bike got like pretty beat up. Not bad, I mean, but some of the wrap got got scuffed in a little bit and stuff, and it's like I was bummed. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that just has to come with somebody who's just not experienced. I mean, is it experience that...
See, I feel like in that situation, the bike shop should have been the one to check that. You know, that should have never left their door until someone torqued everything.
Yeah, but luckily I was fine. But what if I wasn't?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
You
Yeah,
know?
that could have been
if
very
that
serious.
ended at a hospital.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah. So, you know, going back to when you first moved here, you started meeting people and establishing yourself as like a bike wrap service. You said that was like embraced pretty quickly.
Yeah, it went pretty well. I would say the color change stuff was a little confusing to some people. Like they didn't even understand.
Why is that?
They didn't even understand that you could wrap a bicycle in a different color.
Oh, like the concept of, because like wrapping cars is semi-new-ish, but
like
then
still
wrapping bikes,
Yeah.
that's like...
Yeah,
You know.
and like the way I would always tell people with cars, I'm like, it's a giant sticker. Like that's the best way I can describe it, because like some people can't even fathom the idea that I'm taking a big piece of vinyl
Material,
and covering their car, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's basically a giant sticker that I'm going to cover your car with, and it's going to look like it's painted.
Right. Well, and I even think now, just like general, what's it, PPE?
PPF.
PPF. Yeah. That like that has become more prominent in auto.
Yeah.
Like, so I know new car lots will offer it.
Yep.
You know, before they sell the car, they'll say like, "Hey, do you want this PPF wrap?"
Yep.
Before it leaves the lot,
Yep.
it'll protect the paint on its way out.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. The Tesla Cybertruck actually comes with a colored PPF on it.
Oh, really?
So if you buy a black one, it's a colored PPF.
No way.
Yeah.
So it's still the steel one.
Yeah.
Under.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep. Yeah, so colored PPF is the new thing, and like if you, so I've been to SEMA a bunch.
Yeah.
As of the last maybe 2 or 3 years, color change vinyl is kind of slowly getting pushed out, and color change PPF is getting pushed in because you get a better finish, you get more protection, you get it's much smoother finish. Doesn't give that orange peely look like vinyl does sometimes.
Like it almost it has a bit more of like a layer. It feels like a layer.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. Yep.
And there's like the protection, but then there's also like the glossiness. Isn't it better?
Yeah, it's
I don't
much
know.
better. Yeah, PPF's gloss is much better. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. And you're talking a 3 mil thin film of vinyl versus a 9 to 10 mil thick PPF. So
Way
you're
different.
significantly thicker
Way
material.
different, yeah.
So you can get a better finish. You can get, better colors and things like that with it.
Okay.
So you're doing like graphics and stuff like on this vinyl, right? Like I've seen some stuff you did that's amazing, by the way. But are you outsourcing the printing, or are you printing it yourself?
I print in house. I have a small printer in house, so I can do pretty much everything. If it was a full like gravel bike or road bike, I would probably have to outsource that. But for the most part, anything for mountain bikes I can do in house.
Do you ever have issues where like we have issues in skateboard printing, like say white, and then we have like a color underneath it, like the stained wood. This
color influence. Color influence.
Yeah, like we'll have like an orange wood stain on the bottom, but then the white base is not. We have to do double passes or it'll bleed through. And
so white is a specific color. I cannot print white. So that's you have to spend an extra like $10,000 to get a printer that can print white.
Yeah.
Like that's a very specific
thing. CMYK.
And which is funny.
Yeah, mine's CMYK. Yeah.
Okay. And that's like the same thing in skateboarding. Like a lot of times the digital UV CMYK printers won't print the white, but we'll screen white.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we'll put that as a base.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's not like something you can do for bikes.
Yeah.
So
no, exactly.
I would imagine, and this goes for cars as well. I learned this recently in tuner culture, is that it's a good idea to get either a white or a black car.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
I always typically try to buy. If you see all my bikes, they're always black.
Yep.
Because I can easily
of the
wrap them.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's another thing too, is that like and actually this is probably go really good segue for the color change, is when you're doing a color change, if it's not white or black, the hiding the original color is pretty tricky.
Yes.
What how do you like talk to me a little bit about that?
I'll actually describe one recently. So I did a Pivot Shuttle LT, which comes in all blue. It's a Pivot e-bike, comes all blue, and the customer wanted all orange.
Okay.
So now everywhere you see blue, I'm talking inside of the pivots. I'm talking inside of the chainstay. Actually has cutouts where the blue shows inside of the chainstay. So I mean, you're talking blue everywhere. So what I had to do in that instance was cut out little pieces of black vinyl and put it inside of these little holes inside of the chainstay protector to cover up that spot. And then similar to with the pivots and things like that, you clean them really good. You got to get all the grease out of there. So that's why it's very important. So you get it really clean, really dry, and then you basically lay as far as you can, and then just trim the vinyl back so you can't see the color and nothing's going to rub. So it's kind of a trial by error learning as I go, but I've gotten pretty good at figuring out what's going, how far I can go without having issues in the future.
So did I hear that right? You were using black to as a color to disguise some areas?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So it's like putting color in there, it probably may show a little bit more, but the black is maybe more of a disguise.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. So when I go over that area with the black vinyl, even if there's a tiniest bit of blue showing, you won't see it. But if I put orange in there, that
you
blue
are going to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so
cool.
You got to sit there and inspect some of these bikes for every little nook and cranny to make sure. Yeah,
definitely. And like that's part of, some people don't understand it when they ask for a quote. They'll be like, how much to wrap a bike, and they think it's going to be $300-$400, and it's like, no, you don't understand. Like, I am fully disassembling. I am making your bike look like it was painted in that color.
And then not to mention the time and effort for the build, the tear down and rebuild.
Yes,
exactly. I mean that's
just in that.
That's like a job itself.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I've actually got to where I charge a little bit extra if I do need to remove the brakes and stuff, because I did realize it was taking me, a significant amount of time to take everything apart. I got to bleed the brakes again and go through. I had to buy, the bleeding tools and have the fluid on hand, and, all that stuff too. So
man, that's definitely something that people are not thinking about.
Exactly.
Not at all. I just didn't think about that at all until just now. I was like, you bleed it too.
Yeah. So I would typically in that situation, I would offer two options. So I can put a seam where your cables go into the frame, so I can basically wrap as far as I can, cut it, wrap around. You won't see any color, but there will be a spot where 2 pieces of vinyl overlap.
Right.
Or I can take everything out, and then that'll be completely smooth. So that's pretty much what I have to describe to somebody, and then they decide if they want to pay the extra to do it.
Right.
Okay. So do you have like a separate cost for someone that's just bringing a frame to you?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's about $100 to $200 cheaper, depending on the frame.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty good value. I mean, honestly, for you to just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Exactly.
mean, so kudos on you for pricing structure, because like I feel like that's like I could easily be like, I'll just
I
have
don't
him
want to
do
deal
it.
with it. Yeah, exactly. And that's pretty much the
Yeah.
idea. It's like it's enough for it to be worth it for me to do it, and it's enough for it to be low enough where you'd consider I don't even want to deal with it. You know?
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So on your Instagram, you do show a lot of stuff. I wanted to kind of highlight and also tell people that are checking it out to go and just check out your Instagram, because it'll show a lot of work that you offer or have done in the past, and maybe that would give some inspiration.
Yeah, that's usually what I do. If someone messages me and they'll be like, "Oh, I want to customize my bike, but I don't know what I want to do," I'm like, "Oh, just check out my Instagram. Go online if there's any themes you like. Like one guy wanted a Eddie Van Halen theme, and I was like, yeah, I can do like Eddie Van Halen's guitar.
Oh, you have that on your
I
Instagram?
I haven't done that one yet. I actually quoted him.
Okay, gotcha.
But like I'll tell people like go find what do you like, what are the themes you like, what are colors you like, things like that, and then I kind of run with that.
Gotcha.
And then you can fully put the decals back on, like from brand decals and everything.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I have a lot of them already on my computer, so I can make a lot of them in house, and pretty much any color you can think of. So the possibilities are really endless.
Well, and that's another thing that I know people get into too, is just changing the logo color.
Yep.
Like I think, do you get much business for that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Fork logos and frame logos, I do a pretty good amount of them.
Yeah, totally.
Because a lot of times the fork just comes with the generic, black,
Fox.
gray, and white. Yeah, exactly.
Orange.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to switch it up,
do you? I mean, I'm sure you do this. You just take could you wrap a fork?
Yeah.
Just do the fork, or like, hey, can you please not? Like, I want a Fox fork that's not orange.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Gotcha.
Yeah. The fork, it has a lot of those little tiny spaces, so there is spots where I can't really do much about it.
Right.
Like especially on the backside where like your fender mounts, because it's all, I forget what it's called, but the way it's cast, it has all those.
Oh, the little the cast holes.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
I don't know. What
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
But it's like things like that I can't wrap, obviously. So it's those areas will still
it's funny
the way they are.
This Gnarco, the logo.
Yep.
Like you have that as like the I think of the OZ trails.
Yeah,
like
that one's Women of Oz, actually.
Oz,
So
yep.
the difference between Women of Oz and Oz Trails is the green. So Oz Trails has green at the bottom. Women of Oz does not.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fun facts.
Yep.
Neat. But yeah, like that's just kind of proof that you get actually it's funny because that's almost like the best example.
Yeah.
Of like, not only can you change the color, I can apply a fade across the color.
And that one had black logos on it. So it was
that one had black. It was like black on gray.
Yeah.
Is that gray?
I think it was gloss black with matte black logos.
Gotcha.
Something along those lines.
That's kind of popular.
Yeah.
But it just changes the appearance of the bike so much that like even just that small change,
it makes it yours. I mean,
it's
absolutely
totally customized.
And that's kind of what I always tell people. It's like it's a way of making it your bike. I mean, we live in a place where there's hundreds and hundreds of people with probably the same bikes.
Preach it, dude. Preach it. That's like that's probably, if there's like an irritant of anybody in Northwest Arkansas, it's that like you see your bike so much, you're like, it doesn't feel like it's my bike anymore.
I don't even know if I can buy a Turbo Levo just because there's so many of them.
Dude, also, we talk about YT all the time because there's like when Scott first got here, I told him, I was like, there's no YTs in Arkansas.
Yeah, literally.
And then like now,
that's all there is.
It's probably
it's
more
like,
than 50% of the e-bikes.
One.
Right?
I almost felt like a weirdo because I was like, man, nobody even knows what kind of bike this is.
YT? Is that like a GT? Is that a GT?
We got pulled over in Texas, and he thought it was is it Vermont?
Vermont's VT.
Yeah, that's
VT. That's right.
The Texas Highway Patrol guy goes, "Oh, is that a University of Vermont bike or something?" And I was like, I
what?
could see. No, for a minute I was like, huh? And I was like, I could see. It does look like it, kind of.
That's funny. But yeah, there's like there's so many examples of your work on the Instagram. That's why I kind of tell people to go check it out, because you can at least get an example
Yep.
of if you've never seen like what it means
Yeah.
to
Yep.
wrap a bike.
Yeah, like that one. You guys probably know Bob that always wears the orange helmet.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So perfect example of what he would want on his bike.
No joke. Yeah,
That
it's
made
like
it Bob's bike.
Bob's bike. Right. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, the customization I think is pretty key because like you want it's just like cars.
Yeah.
You know, like you want
Wanna
to
make it your own.
yours.
Yeah. Yep.
Totally.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
Very cool.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that's kind of how I got into it. My first like changing of a bike was my Jeffsy. I put geometric camouflage on it, but it was just like individual pieces. I covered the whole
nice,
bike.
nice,
nice. And it was cool. It was something to change up my bike, you know, make it look a little different.
Oh, dude, I'm such a fan of the geometric wrap, like aesthetic.
Yeah.
You could just do it to me all day.
Yeah.
Like just different colors, different,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
different
Styles. Patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do it. I'll take it. I could probably honestly deal with that aesthetic my entire life.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Good to know.
Yeah. Just in case. But yeah, no, there's like, and also it's funny in this video, this shows a little bit of like the vinyl cutter.
Yep.
Yeah. So, because like you're doing all that stuff in house.
Yeah, so that's another thing that a lot of people probably don't know that I do is I actually cut all the clear wrap kits in house too. So prior to me moving here, I would have to order those kits. So I would have to take a deposit, order it in. It would take like a week and a half to get, and then I would schedule the bike. Now, if you bring me a bike, I can cut the kit that day, install it that day, and have it back to you in 2 days from then.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Man, popping this one back up.
Yeah, and I'm up to 412 kits I've cut since I moved here.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then at that rate, after you've made it once, you have it forever.
No, you pay per pattern for Ride Wrap.
Oh, okay.
So it's through the company Ride Wrap. It's their software,
Gotcha.
and I pay per square foot. There's not much of a difference in what I pay versus what somebody would pay online.
Okay.
But it's the convenience.
The convenience and it's the security that like you're kind of verifying.
Yes.
I mean that it's the right one.
Exactly.
Even,
yes.
you know,
100%.
Because I mean, even like I think Scott, whenever you were getting yours, we went back and forth with links for like 2 days.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Just
there's
like
a lot of different options, and
and you're checking other brands too. You're cross-referencing other brands like
Groundskeeper.
Yeah.
Invisiframe.
Invisiframe. Yeah. So you're like cross-referencing all these, and you're like, which one's better? Which one do I need? You know, and like as a professional, like you're right there to just be like, oh hey, I would use this one.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like a lot of times people ask me like, should I do gloss or matte? And typically I would ask them, do you have a preference? If you don't have a preference, I say stick with what your bike is. And if you do have a preference, this is what it'll look like if I do it.
Dude, I'm so glad you said that because like there is something that is aesthetically unpleasing when you put a matte on a gloss or a gloss on a matte.
Yep. For sure.
I put a matte on the Jeff C. Vlad red one.
Yeah.
Because I was the only reason why I got the red one, I wasn't going to get it because I don't like flashy colors.
Yep.
And so I wanted a matte version of it.
Right.
I wasn't disappointed though.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and not to call your bike out, but like you can just see those differences. You can see it's like a stark difference between the wrap and the not wrap.
Yeah, because you can see the lines.
Yeah, between the gaps between all the pieces.
All the gaps between all the pieces.
Yep.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, just for me, I think if you're trying to wrap something to disguise or like to be hidden, then you want to
stick to the same finish.
Right.
Yeah. That was my only thought on that.
Yep.
But yeah, even when it comes to those kits, do you see any like major differences from any manufacturer to another?
Yes, actually, they're all a little bit different. Like I can look at a bike and tell you whose brand kit it is just based on the design of their kit.
Oh, you can see that.
Yeah, and I prefer Ride Wraps kits. I've installed Invisiframes. I would say Invisiframe is probably slightly easier to install if it's your first time.
Okay.
Ride Wrap is a little bit harder to install, but the film is much better in my opinion, and their patterns are much better in my opinion. They have better coverage. They go a little bit further. I actually have, I don't think it's on my Instagram, I have an example of a bike wrapped in Invisiframe and a bike wrapped in Ride Wrap and the difference between the two.
No, put that on your Instagram.
I know.
Yeah.
I think it's on my personal. I don't think it's on my
I can
my
find
business.
it. I can find it.
But yeah, it's like there is a difference between the two. Like I said, Ride Wrap is definitely my preferred brand for sure.
Well, that's good to know. Because I mean, honestly, if people are watching this and they're even just considering doing it themselves, I'm sure they would even just want to know that helpful tip.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And people ask me all the time, like it's probably one of my most common questions is, should I try it myself? And I answer the same way every time. Are you extremely patient? Do you have 6 hours to give? And are you okay with imperfections? Because all three of those things are going to happen.
Will happen. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't care how good you are. I don't care how fast of a learner you are. You will spend 6 hours wrapping your bike the first time, and you will not be happy with it.
No, I have zero patience. I already can tell you before.
So Scott's answered.
I already know that's something I can't do. Yeah.
Well, and actually, I think that even when you bought it, you were like me and you were talking about it because you were living in California then. We were just talking bikes all the time. And you were like, should I do it? I think, right? Were you talking about doing it at some point?
But the more I watch videos, I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna do it."
The patience part started coming in.
Yeah. Even the bike I have now, I just ordered some strips from Dyed Bros, the gray camo, and I was just like, just the top tube. I got about halfway, and I was like, good enough. And I was slapping on there. It was like after 15 minutes, I was over it. Yeah,
Proof. Very common.
It is.
Very common.
Yeah, so it's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, and then also I think, and you probably include this too, is like you might lose some money because you might just completely ruin it.
And so I've had, I don't know, I'm probably up to 20 bikes now that I've had that have come with one piece missing. Because they attempted to install it themselves and it didn't go successfully.
Yeah,
right.
That's all over the place.
That's funny.
Yeah. So that's happened quite a few times.
So when you came here, you just started out of your garage doing it?
Actually, I have a crawl space at my house, so it's about 500 square feet. So it's not a crawl space per se, but it's pretty good size space, 9-foot high ceiling. So I started working down there. I built a shop down there, and it's been pretty good. I started doing it in one of my bedrooms at my house because my crawl space wasn't finished, but I finished it off now. I've had up to 12 bikes in there, so it's a pretty good amount of space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you? I thought that you had moved to like a shop or something, but
no, I was planning to try to get a shop. Because business was going pretty good, and I was kind of leaning more towards the sign side of stuff, like kind of growing more on the doing signs and things like that. So I was looking at a shop, but it didn't end up coming through. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so I'm still in my crawl space at my house.
Right on.
Yep.
Sometimes that's better, anyways.
Yeah, it is nice to just I get home from work and I can just go right down there and get to work on it. Work at my leisure
or something. Yeah. It's like all that overhead.
Yep. Yeah, there's the brick and mortar overhead. It's like something that I fear for all businesses right now.
Yeah, because it's a guaranteed something you have to come up with every month, whether you're making money or not. So
right.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think all businesses right now can have experienced times where they're just not making money.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and just like you had said, like in the wintertime, nobody's the business slows down and stuff. So like when it is hot, the business is booming.
Ramp up.
You gotta think about preserving some of that
exactly
for the slow months.
Yep. And not just buying bike parts with all of it.
Yeah, right.
Well, as a
which
biker.
Is really easy.
Yeah.
Especially when you're injured. I'm just like, oh man.
That's when you bike. Stuff. That's when you part hunt the most and bike hunt. Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, I was also thinking that maybe I feel like winter. I feel like that would be the best time to wrap a bike because it's like if you're not going to be riding as much.
Well, you got to think about it. Like think about you didn't come from a place where we had winters, but
very true.
But where I came from, the winter time was when you did everything to your car, and then you came out in the springtime
and to show it off.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like it's kind of some of that as well. Like January, February, it gets a little slow, and then as it starts to warm up, I start to get busy again. And it's like, I can ride my bike again because it's nice out, so I need to get it protected. Things like that. So I feel like that's kind of what happens.
How much of your business is a brand new bike versus a bike they've had for a while?
It's probably about 80% brand new bikes.
Okay,
maybe even higher. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking because it's like one of my biggest gripes about the bike industry is color options. Boy, does that frustrate me to no end, especially being somebody that's like I worked in color for a number of years. It's like, okay, so you can have this if you like this bike. you better like these two colors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's one or the other.
Yeah. And if it doesn't come with the components you want, you're
Yeah,
gonna
then you're
change
definitely
it.
not getting
Yeah.
it, you know?
Yeah.
Jeffsy's bad about that. Or,
get the
I'm sorry,
black
YT.
Yeah.
Otherwise, get the black one if you plan on.
Yep.
There
plan
you
on
go.
wrapping it, get the black
Get the
one.
black
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
It makes a
Yeah,
lot
so
of
I
sense.
can actually lower my color change price if you have a black bike because I don't have to wrap inside
You're
of
doing
all
less work.
Yeah, all the
Yep.
spaces where there's bearings and things like I can trim it shorter because I don't need to worry about those
Dude,
areas.
That's night and day.
Yeah.
Like, I can think so much.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's
yep.
good to know.
So, folks,
Guy with the white
get a
bike.
black bike if you plan on wrapping it.
Yep.
or
Out of the
white, or white, because it's. I mean, there's the. I think the same thing occurs where it's like
Yeah.
if you see like a speck of white,
Yeah.
especially if it's a light color.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
yeah, I
not,
would say if you like lighter colors, stay to the lighter color,
Base.
base to start.
Mhm.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the base coat.
Yep.
It is the base coat
Yep.
for the wrap. And I feel like wraps, like when wraps first came out for auto, even it was like frowned upon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like that ain't cool. Like
Yeah.
you can, and like you said, now you go to SEMA,
Everything's wrapped.
they're all wrapped.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and it's not even like frowned upon. It's like it's more passive now.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
I hadn't really like thought about that too much.
And then it was like there's also a thing with vinyl where some people with older cars will want to quote for wrap, and it's like, oh well, it needs some body work, it's got some primer. It's like wrap might not be the solution because you're going to have to peel that off eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you have there that's not properly sealed is going to come off with it. You know,
Yeah.
things like that. So it's
Oh, will wrap actually pull off like Bondo and stuff like that?
it can, yeah. If it's not adhering properly, yeah. I mean, it can even take off clear wrap on mountain bikes.
Oh, like clear clear coat.
Yep.
Like it can remove clear coat.
Yeah, I've had that happen on a couple of bikes. Yeah. Yeah.
Like when you're like kind of, because do you have to do the same technique? I've watched car wraps a bunch. You have to do the pull and then reapply, pull and reapply kind of.
So I typically try to stretch it out. So if you stretch out the film, you don't leave any glue behind, and you're not pulling up. So you're not putting a ton of upward pressure. You're stretching out the material.
Yes.
And the glue is made to stay to the vinyl. So when you stretch it out, it stays.
It's sticking to it. It's staying in that position.
Yeah, exactly. Just think of like a 3M command strip.
Yep.
When you pull those off, you know how you
Get that-
stretch it out? It's
yep.
the same idea when you're pulling off vinyl. Same thing with PPF as well. You want to stretch it out. You don't want to just pull it up.
Pull it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've actually watched those, like, there's videos of people that are, like, unwrapping their cars, and it's just, like, flakes of paint or whatever is just coming off, and it just looks terrible.
Yeah.
Is that common?
Not too common. I mean, I've had it happen, but it's more on that car, and that you usually have if you're doing a color change wrap on a car, you have someone sign something saying you're not responsible for anything underneath because I can't control how good that paint adheres to whatever's underneath it.
Or you weren't like you don't know the prep work that went into like the clear coat application.
Exactly.
So like it could have just been like a poor application.
Yep.
And then you tap paint on it or tap tape on it.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna just
peel
come off.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, like it would. You would be responsible for that if you didn't have some sort of like.
Yeah. Well, I've never had an issue, but I've heard of people having issues with things like that. So I try not to get involved.
I was just seeing this.
It's reflective.
I feel like I gotta.
So the whole thing is reflective.
Oh, I see.
So without the flash on it, it looks like it's just grayish black, and then when you have a flash on it, it all lights up.
Yeah, that's on my Polygon. It has some junk like that.
Yeah. So
what's it called?
Holographic reflective.
Okay.
And your printer prints that?
No, that was just cut on my vinyl cutter.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so that was a film that I bought, and
so you buy the film and then just cut it to shape, and then it is that.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, that's very cool. That's
Yeah.
very cool. It's funny because it's like I think a lot of people just think like, okay, like so what design am I going with?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I feel like there's just more
topographic lines.
There's
That's
more
what I
to
meant.
it. Oh, right. Yes.
That's
right.
the number one thing.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's great.
Do you do graphic design too for them, or you
A
just
little
look
bit?
for
I can
things?
do some basic stuff. Like if you had an idea and you wanted to change your fork logos to something, the Gnarkansas logo or something, colors or whatever, I can do that. Designing a bike from the ground up, probably not my forte, but I can get it done if need be.
But you can do like patterns that you can.
Yeah,
find
I could do
different
pattern. Yeah, like the
camos
topography
and stuff.
bike. I did that. I did a couple different bikes of just different patterns and things like that.
I'm sure at this point, the topography, you're like, oh, I'll do all of those.
Yeah.
Like
I actually bought a file that has like 150 different
topography things, and you just change it for each one. You're like, it's different.
Yeah.
Because I mean, really, like, even if somebody said, I want the mountains of...
someone said they wanted Bentonville topography, and I'm like, I can give you topography.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Bentonville.
And you're like, I'm not going to lie to you. That ain't Bentonville, but you can imagine.
There's not, I mean, if you think about the area too, it's not a ton of elevation.
Oh, right. So it's like, it wouldn't be cool lines. Yeah. You want a little more than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just do a flat line.
Yeah.
I want Bentonville Mountains. There you go.
Burn. Pedalville.
See that little hump right there? That's the top of downhill connector.
Yeah. It's just a flat line.
Oh, man. We love you, Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah.
We're just jokes. These are just jokes. But that's cool. That's cool that it's like it's you're cutting something, but it's like that's a design plus film, a film choice.
Yep, exactly.
So like that created its own thing.
That
So that's
one
what I
was
was basically getting
I wanted
at.
dragon scales. That was the idea. I wanted it to look like dragon scales. So
that's a great design, dude. Like just overall, and just like the bike presents as a product now.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I mean, that's another thing with these bikes is like if they're pretty boring looking.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Like,
they don't do anything with design anymore. Like bikes are pretty plain because they're trying to just appeal to everybody. So they keep them pretty plain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people are, if they're interested in this, price has got to be the first thing to come up.
Yeah.
So can you talk to me about like average prices for this stuff?
So for a clear wrap for a mountain bike, you're looking at $325. You would pay $125 for the kit, so basically paying $200 for install, and that would be for a ride wrap tailored kit. And then if you wanted the fork, it's an additional $75, so $400 for your whole entire bike. It covers about 97% of your painted surfaces on your bike. And then color change wraps, those can range. If I have a color in stock, I can charge a little bit less.
Cool.
If you wanted to do like a two-tone where I just wrap part of the bike, so it can go anywhere from $500 to, let's say, $1,500.
Okay. So 500 being more on the side of like a partial color change.
Yeah, partial color change. Yeah, like a half wrap type of thing.
Yeah, like I saw one that you did that was like a fade.
Yeah, like a gradient. Yeah.
Yep. And then I've seen another one that you did that was like a hard line, like a hard
just
line.
a hard cut off line. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Same kind of pricing.
Yeah, similar. Yep.
Roughly.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
And then once you get into the like a full solid color change, you're looking right around like $800 to $900 to fully change your bike to a different color, and then up to like $1,200 to $1,500 would be the completely custom printed, custom design wraps.
So I had this idea. The YT Supernatural, the black one's got the matte,
and
then the shiny black. Like I was thinking like do something cool with just the shiny part because it's just the front.
Oh, right.
But you still got to wrap the whole bike though, right? But then the rest would be clear.
You don't have to wrap the whole bike, so I could wrap just the shiny part and then have the cutoff line wherever the line was. I could do something like that. The clear would be on top of that too. So it's like if you wanted.
But then what if you wanted like your hot spots to be protected still?
Yeah, so we can do. There's also a universal kit instead of. So the tailored kit covers the whole bike. Universal kit would cover just the main areas. So it would be the main area, the top tube, down tube, seat stays and chain stays.
Okay, so could you do like a design on the section that you want to design, but then still
protect the other stuff? Yeah. So I can tailor that. The universal kits, I can do it any way you want to, because I make those kits in house. I'm not getting that from Ride Wrap, so I can make that however we wanted to do it. If you wanted to just cover, actually, I just shipped a bike back to a customer in Indiana. I did the clear wrap on the whole front of the bike, and then I wrapped the rear of the bike red with silver paint splatter to look like the Maven brakes, and it fades back into black onto the tail of it. But yeah, it was saying he just protected the front and did the color change stuff on the back. So.
Yeah, I want to do like some kind of Gnarkansas green theme, on a supernatural black, but just on the shiny
on
part.
the shiny part. Yeah.
And then,
cool.
but I still want to wrap like the stuff that's
The
needs to be protected
Yeah.
too.
The danger
Yeah,
zone.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I can tailor it to whatever. I usually ask people like, what's your budget? It's like, especially if it's a business and they're like, oh, I want to wrap. Like I've done quite a few bikes for businesses, and they'll be like, oh, I want to wrap a bike with my company logo on it. I'm like, oh, what's your budget? And then kind of work from there. Like we did a bike that was American flag, and it was American flag at the front, and then it faded into white, and then it had the business logo going down the down tube, and the location on the seat stay. But he's hanging it on the wall, so he was like, I honestly don't need the other side of the bike wrapped. He was like, you only have to wrap one side. And I was like, okay, I can cut you a deal, so I don't have to worry.
Sure
It's
you're
half
not
the
riding it?
material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But it is half the material.
Yeah.
So like you're like, but even still, like I feel like I'm the dork that's like, who's gonna see it from the side profile? They're gonna.
I
look
still
down
I still wrapped it white.
I figured you made
I
it. You
couldn't
made
just
it.
leave it. It was like dark
Thank
blue.
you. I appreciate you for doing that.
Yeah. It was dark blue metallic, and I was like, I'm just gonna wrap it white at least. Like the easy part was I didn't have to line everything up. So like I had to line up his logo going down the down tube. I needed it dead center. I needed it to be straight. Things like that. I didn't have to do that on the other side. So I was able to shave off quite a bit of time just from doing that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Because I imagine that a lot of the time goes into the prep work,
The details,
and then the layout.
Yeah. The details are like the small details are the big. Like I could wrap the whole front triangle without all the detail work in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's getting it down into all the edges, stretching it where it needs to stretch, tucking it in where it needs to tuck, like things like that are what takes up the time. It's not actually laying the vinyl. Same thing with a car. I mean, you could wrap the whole entire side of the car in less than an hour, but you'd probably spend 3 hours on your bumper and an hour just tucking into the door handles and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in those areas that you have those tucks and those little spots, one thing I just never have known about wrap, and I know that there's some wraps that have some like self-healing when
they
the
all
heat
kind
applied.
of do. Yeah, they all kind of do. There's a clear laminate layer on PPF and vinyl.
Yeah,
as long as it's gloss, that when you apply heat to it, it typically
kind of rebuilds
heals.
itself. Yeah.
Yep.
So when you have those little areas, and let's just say that like you had an area where like some spots met, and then there was like maybe like a triangle or something, but you needed that area to be filled. If you were doing it before or after, whether it was on the triangle area for description is above or below, does it blend when you put wrap over wrap or near wrap, or how does it look?
So like if you picture like your front bumper of a car where you have a recess where let's say your fog light is,
yes,
the vinyl can't stretch in there.
That's right.
There's no way
there's a point where
it's
it's just you're stretching as far as you can stretch, and you kind of have to have a point of no return.
Exactly.
Like where you end things.
Yep. So typically in that instance, I would do what I'd call an overlay or an inlay. So I would go and I would figure out how far I can go based on wherever there's hard lines. That's typically where I try to get to. So if if you have a nice hard line on the edge, where it recesses in, I would run the vinyl to there. I would cut it right at that hard line, and then the other piece would just overlap that hard line, and it would just like
a little
eighth of an inch.
Yeah. Okay.
And I use a product called knifeless tape, which is how we cut the vinyl. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's just got a little string, and you pull the string, and it cuts it. Yeah. Because I can't draw my name straight. I'm not going to be able to cut straight.
Right.
But I can lay knifeless tape straight.
I have seen some people on auto wraps using blades. On cars,
paint,
and I'm just like, how do you know you're not just?
It's funny because you do though. When you get good at, I could put a piece of vinyl on my hand and cut it without cutting my skin.
With cutting your skin.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You just get used to the feel. You have to know your tip. Like I mean, literally the difference could be between a Japanese blade and a USA blade. They would cut differently. Yeah. So it's you really have to know your stuff and know what you're doing.
Totally.
Stuff like that. But yeah, you can cut on the surface. You typically don't want to if you don't have to.
Okay.
But you can if you really need to, because there are spots where you just can't get
knifeless tape isn't even going to get into the crevice or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, and you just gotta, and I guess at that rate, if you're going into a deep spot,
not a big deal.
It's all right.
Yeah, like just picture like those spots where your top tube on a bike has like one of those triangle holes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like just imagine trying to wrap inside of that hole.
Exactly. I'm like, what would I do? Which I guess that comes into like what you were talking about, where it's like if somebody asks like, could I do this myself?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, imagine that. Go.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you don't think about any of that. You just think about the basic stuff. But
that's funny.
I had a full ride wrap on my Jeffsy, and the more you think about all the little nooks and crannies, I was like, I would have never been able to do that.
And there's so many little pieces in those kits too, where it's like
you don't even know where they go to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've actually gotten to the point where I don't use the instructions, like the thing that tells you where the piece goes anymore. I can look at the piece and be like, that's that piece of the bike.
Yeah.
It took a long time, but I've gotten there.
You're like the Lego. I think of the Lego instructions where you get the thing and it's like build this Lego piece or like thing. You're like, nah, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it. I know what this is.
Those are suggestions.
Suggestion.
Oh, at this rate, like I mean, if something like if there was like a piece missing, you'd be like, I'll just print that piece.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
cut it myself.
So like if I did have an instance where I messed something up, I could remake a piece, right there. I could cut it through the system, or I could just remake it by hand.
Right.
Yeah. Because if you can take an old piece off and trace it and remake that piece again.
Oh, right.
So if somebody came to me with their bike and it had the damaged top tube, I could buy that damaged top tube from Ride Wrap, or I could just peel that piece off and then lay it out on the table and cut it out myself. So.
Oh, right. So
So
you were talking earlier about designs and like being like buying them, releasing them, or like the shapes, the cut, the
patterns.
The patterns. Yeah. Yep. So you only have like a certain amount of time you can use them, or how does that work?
So you can only cut it once. So you're
gotcha.
So you buy credits.
You buy like a cut file.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
So you buy credits and you buy your film. You don't have to buy Ride Wrap's film, but I like their film. Okay. So you buy their credits and you buy their film, and then each bike, it tells you how big it is. So if it's a 48-inch Ride Wrap kit, that means it's going to be 8 square feet of vinyl. So I have to use, I forget how many credits it is, but whatever amount of credits, I think it's 8, whatever amount of credits that comes out to. So basically I'm paying by the square foot.
Is this like an internal Ride Wraps like program?
Yeah, it's called Super Cutter.
Okay.
You have to sign up for it and get accepted and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's cool that there's like a product or like a program out there that's like bike specific, but that also, I think of somebody like you as like you're just like a third party user of it, and you're like, no, I'm down. Sign me up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like this is so much easier than if I had to do this myself.
Yep. Exactly.
So you find the value in it.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. And there is a slight discount too. Like I do make a little bit of money off of the kits. Not much. I'd like to make more, but there is a slight. Invisiframe actually has a similar system, and theirs is actually less money.
Okay.
But I don't like their film as much, so I stick to Ride Wrap.
It allows you more margins, but you're like, I don't like the product.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm going to spend an extra 20-30 minutes installing it. That 20 or 30 minutes to me is worth the extra I paid for Ride Wrap. That's how I feel.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if that's a testament of Ride Wrap from somebody who uses it.
Yeah. And I've used them both quite extensively.
Okay.
And I always go back to Ride Wrap.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'll take your word for it.
Exactly. No questions asked. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's really cool to like get that perspective on it. I think that a lot of people probably just don't imagine that so much has to go into wrapping a bike.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and a lot of people when they pick their bikes up, like, wow, you wrap all the way in there. It's like stuff like that just they probably just thought I was just going to throw some vinyl on. Like I didn't even need to take the wheels off. I could just wrap it.
I mean, I'm sure people think exactly that. Yeah, like you just like wrap around it, right? You put your hand back around it.
Yep.
Oh man. Well, that's cool. So, have you had any bikes that have came in that were like more challenging than another, like one that you were just like, I can't believe these guys designed this like this?
Yeah, there's one thing that I can't stand is YT's frame protection that comes on the bike.
Oh, okay.
Is an absolute nightmare to take off. Like I've debated on charging $100 more for a YT because of it. Because
is that like that rubber piece on the bottom? I was going to ask you because mine's kind of coming off. Like, what should I use to
the clear rubber stuff or the black rubber?
The black rubber.
Oh, I have some tape that we can use for that. I was talking about the clear one. It only comes on the Capras and Jeffsies. I don't think it comes on the decoys, and it gets kind of yellowy. And when you peel it off, it leaves 100% of the glue behind. You only peel off the clear layer, and it just leaves all the glue. Every single square inch of glue is left behind.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's like horrible.
I don't know if I've noticed it.
Yeah, my fingers were almost bleeding from trying to get that glue off from just like rubbing it off.
Oh, because you were doing like the rub technique.
Yeah, there's honestly no better method.
Oh, right.
You like adhesive removers.
Yep.
It's too thick. It doesn't work for adhesive removers. And then I have a 3M rubber wheel. It's made for taking off glue.
Yes.
But that film it's also too thick. Like the glue is thick. It's not just like regular glue that's left behind from vinyl.
What did they put it on there for?
It's it's the protection for the down tube, and then it's on the chain stays as well. And it just if you look at a capper or a Jeffsy, just look at the frame protection that's on. You'll see it. It usually goes halfway up the chain stay and halfway up the seat stay, and it always gets kind of yellowed looking. It's
I'll have to look. What year was your Jeffsy?
It's all of them. Every year has them.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look.
Yeah. But yeah, that one drives me crazy. That's number one, I would say, for
crazy
jobs that drive me nuts.
I wonder if it's something to do with because it's from a factory and there's something about not making excuses, but more so like it's more of like a industrial level.
Yes,
like
exactly. That's what it seems like.
It's something about the product.
Yeah, it's not the film is not the quality of film that like we install here.
Right.
Wherever it comes from, it's not that good.
And I mean, maybe to put a further point on it, they're not selling it with the expectation that somebody's gonna be taking it off.
Yes, that's another part of it. And like I could leave it on, like on Levos, I would ask people if they want me to leave the factory protection on, because some people want me to leave it on there. I don't like leaving it on because it leaves an air channel all the way around it because the piece overlaps.
Gross.
But the YT one, you can't leave it on because it yellows. It's completely
like it'll yellow under.
Yeah, it'll yellow under the film. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's yellow the day you get it. It's when you start to peel it off, it's not clear anymore.
Oh goodness.
Oh no.
It's very strange. It's to the point where I've almost wanted to try to contact somebody at YT and be like, listen, I will give you $10 to change this.
Yeah, like I'm not paying,
charge an extra $5 and put good film on there.
I will pay you personally to fix this.
Yes, it's so frustrating.
That's great. But I mean, it's also like a testament to it's like you've done enough of this stuff to know that it's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would just say like the bikes like Santa Cruz and Yeti, I would say those are two of the harder bikes to install, because the way that the bikes are designed, the pieces are extremely big. So you're installing a piece that covers a lot of the bike in one piece. So it just makes it harder to install because of that. Not a big deal, but like I would say a Santa Cruz mountain bike would probably take me an extra 45 minutes over a Specialized.
Interesting.
Just because of the frame design.
Okay.
Same thing with the Yeti. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that like directly answered my question, because I was like, I'm sure that like some brands are just easier.
Yeah. Some
brands are harder.
Yeah.
It just has to be.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's just the way it is.
Because there's so many different frame designs.
Yep.
It's like there's guaranteed you're gonna have one on either side of the spectrum.
Yep.
You're gonna have the ones that are like, okay, this one's cake work. It just plops on. The lines just line up.
Yeah.
I actually like I kind of think about my Polygon, because like it's like square tube, like formed tube, and there's a lot of angular stuff, and it's like I think about wraps and I'm like, that's a line, that's a line, boom, that's good stuff.
Another one that's extremely tough is I think it's a Lauf. Is that what it's called? Sigilia or one of those ones with the suspension fork, the grit fork they call it.
A Lauf.
Lauf, I think.
Lauf.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yep.
But yeah, those are hard. Those are hard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And those kits come with the fork kit included in the kit too. So you're wrapping that whole entire fork, that whole suspension piece.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff is all part of it.
So what about people who are in different disciplines? Like, do you see more popularity in XC, in gravel, in mountain bike?
More mountain bike, enduro, I would say, is probably the top.
Okay.
Gravel bikes here and there. I've probably only wrapped 2 road bikes in my whole life. Okay. I actually have one at my house right now, so I'm 3.
Okay. All right.
A lot of people could worry about the weight, which is it's very small, honestly. It's a full ride wrap kit is only like 80 grams, I want to say 70 grams for your whole entire bike to be protected. So I feel like that's not a big deal, but I also ride e-bikes. So I don't know.
Yeah. There's no way you can tell the difference.
Definitely not on an e-bike, that's for
No.
sure.
Yeah.
But also,
On an
like,
e-bike.
even if it were like on a road bike, I mean, it's like I think it's like it's just like any other thing that you're balancing. You know, like how much do I care about my bike versus how much do I care about the weight?
Yep.
You know, like which one's more important
Yep.
for me?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
in this instance.
Yep.
And I guess if people are just changing out their bikes so often,
Yeah.
I wonder if that's something
Yeah.
that leans into the decision.
Yeah,
of
and I would
wrapping.
say, from what I've seen, people that change their bikes often actually find more value in doing the clear wrap because when they go to sell it, the bike is so much better condition. So just imagine you're going to look at
Okay.
two identical bikes.
Yep.
One has scratches and one doesn't. I mean,
The choice is pretty clear.
yeah, exactly. For a minimal $300 investment, you're getting your bike fully protected.
Okay. Me and Scott talked one time about like the value, if it adds value or if you lose value off of the bike being a different color via wrap.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know, honestly. I can say that all the bikes I've had that I've wrapped, I've gotten good money for, but they're typically protected the whole time too.
I don't think that discredits it from being the in
It's
sale.
protected,
Yeah.
but would it be easier to sell a bike protected in clear or a bike protected in
Okay,
Color.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
like a customized?
Yeah.
No,
like
totally.
graphic.
Yeah.
I would say my old Capra, the person I sold it to still has it to this day. It's still green. The same color,
color
I
you
wrapped
wrapped
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say he probably would not have bought that bike if I didn't wrap it. So
Okay.
Okay.
Well, because I think we were talking at that time. I think we were talking about the Giant, Leanna's Giant,
The
because she wrapped it in the oil slick. Or was that wrapped?
no, she had that painted.
Painted. It was. You're right.
Yes.
It was painted oil slick,
oh wow.
Yeah.
and that's what we were
It was
talking.
the live.
That's live. That's
She had
what it
a
was.
live,
Yep.
and she had it totally painted. It turned out cool and
It
stuff.
looked
but
good.
I mean, this
Yeah,
was a long time ago.
Yeah.
This is like
Yeah.
2020.
That's exactly.
One.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but that's what we were talking about was like resale value. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is it going to be harder to sell this thing because it's not a colorway that somebody may have been looking for? But then I was on the opposing side saying like, oh, it's unique.
Yeah.
Like it's the only one that
But
is this color.
It doesn't have any of the decals put
The
back on
decals.
it.
That was
Oh,
actually
now it doesn't
that was
even
our
know if it's a
conversation.
live.
Yeah.
That was our conversation. Was like, it needs to scream live. Like this is a live.
Yeah.
You know, where does it say that? You know,
Yeah.
and I guess in your instance, you just cut new vinyls
Yeah. Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Or put the logo in vinyl
And I don't think that on that live she didn't do that. And I think it was just color,
She took it to.
Yeah.
We were in San Diego, and she just took it to
like an auto paint.
powder, where they powder coat it and all that stuff. And
Nice.
they do all kinds of stuff that's not bike specific. So
Oh,
they
okay.
go. Yeah,
They're
sure, we'll
they're
paint it
doing
for you."
wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they painted it for her, and then we picked it up and
Mhm.
got it all reassembled. But nobody did decals. We didn't know what we were doing. It was
Yeah.
2021. We had
Yeah.
we were like 3 months into mountain biking,
Yeah.
and she just wanted to have
Have
her
it
bike
oil slick. I
Yeah.
know, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
But-
That happens.
Yeah, and I figured that if the like it's like even that is that YT that's on there.
That's a factory color.
That one right there. That's
Yeah.
factory color.
Yeah.
Okay. What were you doing on this one?
I did the full clear wrap on it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so that's actually that's me installing the clear wrap.
But I was just even saying that like even just putting the YT logo in a different color. Like,
Yeah.
that would be nothing.
Yeah,
That would
exactly,
be nothing
yeah.
for you to
Yeah,
do, right?
So like the guys from Oz e-bikes, so
Yeah,
they have a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
rental fleet of YT decoys.
Oh, right.
All of
Yeah,
them
yeah.
are different. We did different YT logo colors, and we did different color frame protection on every single one.
That's rad.
Yeah,
That's
so
very
now
cool.
they differentiate their bikes that way. So it's the green one, the yellow one, the gold
Oh,
one.
gotcha. And
Yeah.
then that's probably like another thing that's cool for them because like I'm sure that they can like see that on the trail.
Yes,
And they're
exactly.
like, oh yeah, that's our bike right
Yeah.
there. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, when I see the bikes on the trail, I'll comment to the person, "Oh, you rented the bike from Oz e-bikes. How's it going?" You know,
That's
it's,
cool.
Yeah, because it's like it's a bike I handled.
Yes.
I want to know if they're having a good time. If they're not, I'll let the guys at Oz e-bikes know.
Sure,
you know,
dude.
stuff like
no,
that.
that's cool. That's
Yeah.
very cool. And it's just like it's just further proof that like you can get this stuff like however customized you want it.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
Like, I mean, anything from $40 all the way up to $1,500.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to make it yours, and you want to spend $50, I can change your logos, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Well, we were talking about vinyl and PPF.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do one or the other when you do these color changes?
For color change bikes, I use vinyl.
Okay.
Color change PPF is not quite as stretchy and as thin as vinyl, so it can't really do everything you need to do on a bike.
Probably a lot less malleable.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So vinyl's a lot more forgiving. It can stretch a lot further.
And into like weird spots.
Yes,
and stuff.
exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. PPF is not known for its ability to stretch. It can, but it's not its thing.
It's just not as much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've watched some auto wrap stuff, and it seems like the result of the PPF is like much more appealing.
Yep.
But when it comes to forgiveness, you're gonna get a lot more out of vinyl.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
And so that should probably be something if anybody's trying to if they listen to this and like, all right, I'm just gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to get vinyl.
Yeah, and the other thing with PPF, if you were to buy enough colored PPF to wrap your car, you're probably talking $6,000 just in the film.
Oh,
alone.
right. The price difference is so much.
Yeah,
so
it's
much.
huge. I think it's
huge.
4 times. I want to say
4 times.
Yeah.
Yo.
But you're getting the protection. You're getting all those other things.
But okay, so are you saying that like vinyl is like not protective at all, or
not really? It's not. I mean, it'll protect a little bit. It'll protect from slight scuffs.
But it's like it'll chip.
It'll chip. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah, you can definitely chip vinyl easily.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So man, that's a lot of words to the wise, man. Like like if you want to change your color, prepare to understand that you're not getting into the protective realm of wrapping.
Yep.
But if you want to be higher end on protection, you're not looking so much into color change and that sort of customization.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So going back to my idea of the supernatural, can you do both? Like the
Yeah,
that's like a
where
front
I
and a back kind of a thing, though,
where
right?
I want to add like the aesthetics of appearance, we can use vinyl, but then
you can still put the clear film over it. So you just you would get that same, not the same effect as like wrapping over another PPF, but like wherever the vinyl ended, you would get a slight little air channel there. So,
okay, gotcha.
So you just have to, that'll be part of it if you do it. So I would say probably about 75% of the color change bikes I do, I also do clear wrap on top of them.
Man, that was my next question.
Yeah,
that was exactly it, dude.
Yep.
No, that's cool. That's so
it's
like
surprisingly common, actually. I didn't expect to do as many clear wraps on top of color change as I did. But a lot of people are like, well, I spent, $800 to change the color. I might as well spend another $300 to protect it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, yeah,
dude,
makes sense.
Makes total sense. This is that's
totally.
like night and day.
Yep.
And it's like I feel like, when people wrap their cars, it's the concept behind it is this doesn't last forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, don't get too attached to it, bro. You can change it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I do you find that? Do you find do people come back and change color?
With cars, not so much bikes.
Okay.
I feel like I haven't done too many like repeat.
Yeah,
I've done repeat customers, but not repeat bikes.
Oh yeah. And that actually makes more sense now that I'm thinking about it. You change your bike a lot more than you change your car.
Yeah.
You buy a new bike more than you buy a new car.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
and that's mainly because, and I mean,
they become obsolete in like 3 months.
Yeah.
the new geometry's out. We got to get it.
Yeah.
You know,
the new standard on this.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's one of the things that's probably some job protection.
Yeah.
100%. It's like, dude, they're releasing bikes every year, and I mean, it's slowed down, the last couple, because of the economy. But like, that it kind of plays into what I was saying about the two colors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you want a bike, like I'm really partial to Polygon, and then like I'm like, okay. I'm just waiting for the two colors you guys release.
Yeah.
And I feel every bike company is that same way.
They're playing it safe. That's what it is.
And I know that it's a matter of units and manufacturing. Like I get why we're in this the situation we're in, but then I also appreciate companies like is it Orbea? that has like the custom
Yeah,
color.
I forget what it's called, but yeah, you can
They have
change
like a program
yeah,
for
program. Yep.
and it's like the 01 or something.
Yeah, my something or other.
My Orbea.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think Propane kind of does it with like the.
They have like a
decals and
color
stuff.
selection thing
Yeah.
where it's like you can kind of pick and choose little a la carte kind
Yeah.
of building. Yeah.
They'll have like a couple colorways, but then a bunch of different colorways for like
Decal.
the decals.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like that's so much more changeable.
Yep.
But there would be like 3 options for. You're right. It's like there'd be like 3 options for paint, but then 6 options for color
yeah.
decal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good quality bikes, by the way.
Yeah,
We've been-
I really like their bikes.
like
Both
bikes
me and Scott have been.
I'm
That's like
always
the
creeping on 'em all
That's
the
like the
time.
only other one that we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I've taken apart a lot of bikes, and like they have enduro bearings in there. They're everything's well designed. It's
Okay.
it's a good quality bike. It's definitely.
Yeah.
It looks it.
Yeah.
It looks.
I mean, it's
it.
German. They
Yeah.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, man, you've had your hands on a lot of different bikes. Has working on a bike ever made you like, oh, I like this bike now?
I would say Allied bikes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. Shout out to
probably-
the Lokesters.
Yeah, locals. Yep.
Nice.
Their paint jobs are probably the best I've ever seen.
Oh, gotcha. And that's, I mean, obviously they're like made local, but they are painted local.
Yeah,
right?
everything done in house.
Yeah.
If you guys ever want to tour there, I can get you a tour.
Oh yeah, I would totally
Yeah.
take it.
Totally.
But yeah, it's really cool. Everything is made in house. I mean, from the actual molds, they make the molds in house.
Do you have any videos of Ally? Is that
That's an Allied.
Yeah,
right
and I
there.
was gonna say, I was like, I could have swore I saw an
Yeah,
Allied.
there's a couple of them in there.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say their bikes. Like I never even considered having a low travel bike. Like it was never, nothing.
Right.
But I'm like, man, if I got one, I might get an Allied because it's just
Nice.
they're just so nicely made and like.
Oh, that's cool,
yeah,
dude. No,
yeah,
that's cool.
they're
Because like, you're the one. You're right there, disassembling everything. 'Cause
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of, most mountain bikers are getting bikes fully assembled.
Yeah.
You're seeing it fully assembled, and
Yep.
you're just kind of seeing that. You're seeing that final product.
Yeah.
Whereas you're taking that apart, taking that final product apart.
Yep.
And it's like, now I'm evaluating this in this whole other light.
Yeah. Exactly.
And what is that harbor?
Yep.
You know?
And it's like when you're installing the clear wrap, I mean, every piece of imperfection is going to show.
Mhm.
So when you're installing it, you find paint imperfections on every single bike, just about.
Totally. I did, that made me think about welds,
Yeah.
like, cause like, for like, aluminum frame, you're going to have some weld points.
Yeah. Another thing Obeyer does pretty cool. Did you ever notice they sand their welds?
I did. Yes.
Mhm.
Joe, Kai has that
She has the gold one.
the gold and black one. And
Yeah.
like, dude, the
It's so
it
clean.
looks smooth.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
it looks good.
Yep.
So very cool on them for that.
Yeah.
But wrapping those points, those weld points, that's probably just got to be one of those like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
frustration points.
Yeah. So when you're doing a color change wrap on an aluminum bike, you would use those weld points as your seams.
as your seams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would overlap the weld, on this side, and then overlap the weld on the other side. So then my seam is on the inside of that weld. So basically the edge of the vinyl's facing into the frame. So
Yes.
you wouldn't really see it.
You wouldn't see it, but also I can only imagine it cleans that up.
Yeah.
It makes
it makes
a
it
weld
smooth it
look
out, yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's hilarious, dude.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. Well, no, shout out to Ally, dude. That's cool.
Yeah,
I
really
I
cool
really
bikes.
appreciate that.
Yep.
I really appreciate that. So are you gonna get a gravel bike? You graveling?
I can't do it.
Can't do it. Okay.
If I can ride my bike, I'm riding a mountain bike.
All right.
I have limited time
I
to
had
ride.
to
If I
ask.
can
I
ride,
had
I'm
to
riding a
ask.
mountain bike.
Yes.
We got him. We got him.
Yeah. You have a tough time convincing me otherwise.
Those things hurt my back staring at them.
I've never even ridden something with drop bars, so
I have, man. I got a road bike downstairs, and it's fun, man. It's like, I think it's a different kind of fun. I've heard we have a friend that like really tries to push us into that world, and
Mhm.
I can relate a little bit. Like
Yeah.
when there's something about when you get into this like this tucked position and you're just flying.
yeah,
You're going way faster than you normally go on a mountain bike.
yeah,
And it's like straight line, and you're kind of feeling the wind cut and everything. There's some appeal to it.
I guess.
Now climbing,
Yeah.
bro, just put me on a mountain bike.
Yeah.
Just get me to the top. Dude,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, I heard someone say that they ride their gravel bike so they can be fit to ride their mountain bike more. I'm like, why don't you just ride your mountain bike more?
I think we have a solution for you. I think we figured it out.
Get 2 birds stoned at once.
Yeah, we took it to the committee and we decided you just need to ride your mountain bike more.
That'll solve both problems.
That's right. Man, so what this one? I think
that's my bike.
That's your bike. Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, where have I seen this before?
Yeah. So yeah, it was all purple, and then I changed it over to black chrome.
Nice. So was there any challenge doing that chrome?
Chrome vinyl is insanely hard to work with.
Mm-hmm.
I like to challenge myself on my own bike. So
there you go.
That's actually my second black chrome bike.
Oh, so you're like I've done this before.
Yeah.
I feel a little better about doing it myself.
Yeah, and it's definitely not for the faint of heart because like you can't stretch chrome vinyl. Chrome vinyl actually
I knew
has
about that.
Yeah, it has metal in it. So
yes.
when you stretch it, it deforms and does not go back. Regular vinyl, I mean, you can push your hand 2 feet into a piece of regular vinyl and heat it up and it'll just go back to normal.
Wow.
Chrome will not do that.
Okay. Man, I'll tell you, tell me, I want to explain something and tell me what it was that I saw. So I was at a car show. It was a GTR, beautiful. I mean, he said he was pushing over 1,000 horsepower and he had it, a blue chrome wrap.
Yep.
And I asked him quickly. I mean, I was just so interested about it. I was like, okay, so talk to me about this wrap. Like, what do you think? Like, are you stoked that you did it? How do you feel after having it for a long time? And he was like, man, it's rough.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, the main thing is keeping it clean
Mm-hmm.
because anything that touches it,
Scratches it.
you scratch it, or if there's a smudge, it just stays there. And it's like so clear that there's a smudge.
Yep.
Right there.
I mean, it's a mirror, basically.
Yeah, you're working with a mirror.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and this is the thing I was going to ask you about, is so it was like he had tracked it, and so he's pushing the tires, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with his fitment, he was rubbing.
Yeah.
So on the rear fenders, on the right on the edge, it was peeling up.
Yep.
And it was just right there. The wrap looked great. Aside from that, but I was like hyper focused on where's the problems, and it looked like paper.
Yeah,
like it looked like paper, like paper bag or something.
Yeah.
Like, is that really what the back of it is?
Chrome vinyl, yeah. So chrome vinyl has a white liner, white layer for the
for the chrome
for the glue. Yeah.
Oh, for the glue.
Yeah. So the glue's on a white layer.
Okay.
All chrome vinyl, just about. There's a couple brands that have clear glue, but that one has basically white glue. And then it's the chrome layers on top of it. Okay. So yeah, it does feel like paper.
Okay. Because it was fraying like paper. Like how like if you get like maybe like you rip a piece of paper that was a little wet. Yeah. And it has the kind of fibers. Yeah. You can see the fibers. Yeah. I could see some fiber. Yeah. And I was like.
Yeah, that's a more of a chrome problem than a vinyl problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Chrome vinyl. Most chrome vinyls only rated for like. Typical vinyl's like 2 to 5 years. Okay. Chrome vinyl's like 6 months. Oh, wow. And then chrome vinyl costs 8 times as much money as regular vinyl.
I don't think he got disclosed that information. He probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, that's wild.
I did a GT3 RS in a satin chrome, which was cool because it has the chrome like sheen, but it's got a satin finish to it.
That sounds nice.
So yeah, I did that, and just the material alone was $4,800 for a Porsche.
Wow.
Just material. There was no install at all. And it only lasts 6
months.
months.
It only lasts 6 months. Ruined.
Yeah.
Ruined.
I mean, that's the warranty. If you left it in a garage and you kept, took good care of it. Yeah. Another thing with chrome that, if chrome can easily scratch, typically, if you're doing a car wrap, you want to laminate that. So you're taking a 9 mil thick film and you're adding 2 more mils. So you're making an 11 mil thick film. Right. But you will not get the scratches. The scratches will fade away because it now has that clear layer that self heals. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Where chrome does not self heal at all. Like, I mean, just from laying the chrome down with your squeegee, you can leave marks that'll never go away if you have a dirty squeegee.
Wow.
So you got to be like, man.
I could only imagine like on the install, like they're just like messing stuff up.
Oh yeah, I almost refused chrome, but I had people that wanted it, so I would do it. But it was not something I highlighted that I did.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems like now, like your wrap is perfect. I've seen your bike. Like,
yeah,
I saw that GTR and I was like, that?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that on your bike.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a lot of experience. I think I've done like 5 cars in chrome now, I want to say.
Man, the way you were talking about chrome not stretching.
Mm-hmm.
How? When the top two and the bottom tube meet and that inside there.
Yeah. It's actually, if you look way up underneath, there's some black showing.
Oh, you busted yourself. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. No, that makes sense. Because it's like, there's some parts of this that I'm sure that it's like a fool's errand.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, customer, I want you to understand that, like, I'm going to do literally as much as we can possibly do.
Yep.
And that if I'm going to miss this spot, this is the spot I'm probably going to miss.
Yep.
And this is why I'm going to miss that area.
Yep. Yeah. And like chrome vinyl, like we were saying, how the back of it is white.
Yes.
So you can't have it overlap now because you're going to see that white layer. So whenever there's an overlap, so typically I'm trying to do it with minimal amounts of seams because you're going to see that white layer underneath.
Yes, right, right.
Because that edge is always going to have some little bit of white in it. So.
Right, but that's harder though, right? To wrap one piece, or like the more continuous wrap you have, the harder it becomes.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because I recently I was looking into like the auto wrap stuff and looking at like how you would do. Like A-pillars and stuff. Like you're really trying. You can just use a piece there if there are some seams to get to. Yeah. But I've also seen people like take a whole sheet, do a whole side of the car, and then they cut out the door. Yeah. Is it they cut out the doors or the window or like?
Yeah, you cut out the doors. Well, depends. There's a couple different ways of doing it. Typically, when I'm wrapping a car, I would lay out the whole entire side as one piece, but I would pull an extra like 12 inches, and then I would cut out the furthest piece, slide it back, 3 or 4 inches, cut out the next piece, slide it back 3 or 4. So now each piece has a little overlap. Yeah. But if you're doing a full printed wrap on the side of a car, you need to do that in one solid piece. You can't cut anything out. You have to just lay it on the car. I think if you scroll back in my Instagram, there's a Porsche that I did.
Oh, let's go.
It's a full graffiti wrap.
Let's see. We got to go to yours.
No, I think it's in this one. It should be in this one. But yeah, that whole entire car was done in one solid piece of vinyl across the side because
of design. Yeah, right.
It's the only way you can do it. Yeah, I think it's in there. It might be.
We're digging. It's all good.
Yeah, it's probably lower. It would be a while ago. I can't. That was the Porsche, the matte black chrome.
Let's take a look. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, it's a cool car.
Which is funny because I was talking about that the R35.
Yep.
And it was this color, just the mirror finish.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. So popular.
Yep. Very.
And also, man, that was another thing. This is just like a whole.
It's on my personal.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Another thing I was going to point out was the.
I just sent it to you.
Okay, cool. Let me see. Probably have to go to the top. Oh, wait, you're here. Bloop. No, that's Bomb Squad. No.
Oh, I sent it to your personal, I think.
Oh, yeah, we're screwed.
You only send it to that one?
Yeah, send it to Gnarkansas.
Sorry.
That's all good. Oh, yeah. So what I was talking about was the color options for vinyl. Mm-hmm. So I started looking into like rolls.
Yep.
And that was one of the things that kind of stood out to me. I was talking so much heat on the bike industry for only having a few colors.
Yeah.
And then I started noticing that like some wrap companies like have like one blue or two blues and then like or two reds or something. And it seems to be a supply thing.
There's some issues. Yeah, Avery vinyl is probably my favorite. I actually named my dog Avery because I like the vinyl that much.
That's very cute.
Yeah, during COVID, they had tons of supply issues, so they ended up stopping producing a lot of colors because of that. So I don't even think they've still had all their colors in stock yet.
Dang, we gotta go full screen for the peeps on this one. Jeez.
Yeah. So that was the customer saw a graffiti wall that he really liked. So he's like, I want to wrap my car like this wall. So That's
like photo straight
yeah,
applied.
straight up photo. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
I don't know.
wild.
It's not
No, no other photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the back of it is a mirror image, dead center, so it mirrors off to both sides. Both
Oh,
sides are exactly
cool.
the same.
No, I love that.
All through the wing and everything. All
Okay,
carried
cool.
the pattern through everything. On
Yeah,
that
it's
one.
cool. Aesthetically, I love that.
Yeah.
That like the left is like the right.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is something that really irks me about asymmetrical wraps, especially in like auto.
Yeah.
Like some people do it. They
Yeah.
just do it for like the design
different, yeah.
like to be different. Yeah. But like, man, split it down the middle and mirror that piece.
So
for
what
me,
about
dude.
what about this one? I had a customer who wanted all of his logos reversed on one side.
Oh.
Oh man!
But then they're exactly the
That
same.
like hurts. I know, I get it. No, it's like where like the S ends up at the same point of the car.
Yep.
If it were mirrored,
Yep.
because it would.
So at one side of the car, everything's backwards. Basically.
No, I get it. I totally get it.
That's full on symmetry right there.
It's hard because
That's gotta be.
it's a design challenge.
Yeah.
It totally is,
Yeah.
because like, especially for like if you have like a logo, let's just say that's the logo's not symmetrical,
Yeah.
right? So it could even be wide and you would put it on a door, but if it has like a high top right and a low bottom left,
Yep.
if you flip that those lines are going to end up at different parts.
Yep.
So
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's just not even going to look the same.
Yep.
And imagine with like auto brand livery and stuff, like that's always got to be a challenge.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I had a customer that we did his whole car. One side was a complete mirror image of the other side.
And it's like
It was hard for me to like look at it and be okay with it, but it's like that's what he wanted. You know?
Sure. With this design though, it's like this makes sense because graffiti wise, it's gonna flow. It's just I'm sure it looked normal on both sides, and the layman would have zero. Like they just wouldn't have even registered.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So
Like everything on that door is exactly the same.
Exactly the same as the other door. Yeah.
and the same angle and the same shape.
Even across like the rear quarters. So like what you see across the roof lines up with the rear quarter on the other side.
And dude, there's so many challenges that come. You
imagine
don't
trying to
even
line
have
all
to
that
tell
up?
me. You don't even have to tell me.
I'm just like in awe right now. Like, how did
Because
you do that.
there are things where
That's crazy.
I'm just gonna like point out, like there's a little line that lands on the tail light, just that little yellow line that swoops down and it touches the top of the tail light.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that line.
If you're a weirdo like I am, that line
Better
has
be the
to
same
touch on the other side.
It's the
like
exact same spot.
Yeah.
you measure it,
Yeah.
and it's like it's landing
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Okay, put it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you did that, I appreciate it.
Yep, I did.
Good.
I remember that. I remember that line by the taillight.
Like, oh yeah.
Obviously, these
yeah.
are like big pieces, right? So
Yeah.
you have to have the starting point
Yep.
of something of the object that's on the paint, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So
man,
yeah, it's
that's
like
insane.
yeah. So I think we started the rear quarter into the door is all one piece, and then the matte blue is a separate color.
Yes,
So that's
right.
all. That's all one piece. But yeah, we basically started where the graphic came down and lined it up like with the door handle.
Yes.
But then from there out, you still have to line up and stretch in the same exact places as you did on the other side to get things to fall where they did on that one.
So I imagine you follow the same pull.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you
Stretch into this direction, pull down here, things like that.
and
yeah.
you just have to as a like you're the technician. You're like, okay, I pulled up here.
Yep.
I pulled out
Yeah,
here.
exactly. Yep.
And then that's what made the line land
Yep.
here. That's so sick, dude.
Yeah.
I love
That was a fun one. That was
so
actually one of
much.
my last color change wraps before COVID.
Okay.
That was one of them right there.
Okay. So are you doing many cars now that you are out?
Here and there, not a ton.
Okay.
I typically just don't have time to do a car. I can do 3 bikes in the time I do a car.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, so it's
the value.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I could probably make more money off of cars, but I'm kind of just sticking to bikes.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, where I have the space for it. I mean, I have a garage. But
Oh
it's
yeah,
not-
I didn't even think of that because like right now, like you don't really have like a space to
yeah,
do
it's
a
like
car.
I can do it in my garage. I don't have to
Okay.
sweep the floor, mop it. I don't have
Sure.
to clean, I'll have to clean it like it was my shop, and
Sure.
and then I have to take the whole car apart and when I had a shop, I had a bin labeled for every part of the car, every screw I took out. If it was from the driver's door panel, it went into that thing. Like I don't have that stuff anymore, so it's like I just don't want to get into that.
It's just a lot more easy and more efficient to work on a bike.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and also you're like you said, your space is kind of catered to bike wrapping.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't know. I kind of just think about like a barber that is working on men's hair, and then there's like a salon that's working on women's hair. There's just different tools.
Yeah, they're not using
the setup's different.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Just like everything is different. So you're catering more towards like the craft that you're currently
in. Yep.
So
oh,
that's super cool.
Yeah.
So you taking any open bookings right now? It's just ready to take.
I'm booking out about a week and a half, roughly, somewhere around there.
Gotcha.
Clear wraps I can turn around in a little bit shorter time frame, but for the most part, about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Not this week though. I'm going to Jared's place.
Oh, Jared's place.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I love the jump line that's there.
It
looks
cool.
so appealing.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna find out.
You're gonna find out.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Good deal. Good deal. You going there with anybody, any crew, or just you guys?
Yeah, you know Rafa from Aussie Bikes? Yeah, I'm going with him. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're gonna we might go to Windrock as well.
Dang, double down.
And then there's a place called Wildside in Tennessee. Pigeon Forge
name.
Go
Where's
watch some videos of that one. Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Pigeon Forge.
Yeah,
okay.
They got some really cool looking jump lines, so we might check that out too. Make a trip out of it.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool.
Whatever.
Scott can't ride, so he's trying to just not think about it.
Have fun.
I'll send you videos.
Yeah.
We'll live vicariously through him. You know what I mean? Well, man, like we covered everything in wrapping, dude. I'm stoked. We really did go in depth, and which was exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, I learned
super
a lot,
stoked.
man. There's so
I can talk forever too on that.
Yeah, I got a whole different perspective now, on just the tearing down the bike and just all the little nooks and crannies.
Yeah,
you don't think about any of that stuff.
Totally. Well, what about riding in Northwest Arkansas? So you rode Massachusetts, you rode here. What do you feel about the differences? What do you like more?
We don't have any bike parks here.
That's true.
I can't call anything around here a bike park.
That's true. That's true.
When you've ridden Thunder Mountain and Killington and Highland, you can't call anything around here a bike park.
Crazy. Those are all so close.
Mm-hmm.
Those were close to you?
Yeah, within 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a season pass for Thunder. I'd probably go every weekend, every other weekend. Dang. Yeah. When you have those things at your disposal, it's really hard to get excited for a place like Howler. It's like, it's fun. I had a blast, but I don't want to drive 2 hours to go to that. That's not it for me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, and it's if to be fair to them, you just compared apples and oranges.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, Howler is just getting started.
Yeah.
And, granted, they do have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
I hope you guys really lean into that
Yeah,
work.
for
Howler.
sure. Max is awesome.
We're rooting for you.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of work to be done. Where the places, all those places,
very
Highland,
established.
Killington, those are all highly established, been there for a long time.
Yep.
Have a following, have a reputation.
Yep.
That stuff all plays into that being active in a lot of revenue.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
So Howler's, they got some work cut out for them.
Yep. Just when I hear bike park, that's not. I think of what I
fair
got
point.
from New England.
Fair point.
Yeah,
super fair point.
Yeah, and that's when I everyone's like, oh, it's so exciting, gonna go there, and I'm like, oh, it was cool. I had a blast. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just that's not the bike park that I think of when I think bike park.
Yeah.
Well, I'm honestly am not very bike park versed, except for when we went to Snow Valley, and I was Snow Summit. Sorry, Snow Summit
in Big Bear.
And it was like, this is insane.
Yeah. You physically can't hold on to your bike.
Yeah.
One run is so long that your hands hurt.
It's 11 to 13 minute descents.
Yeah.
And
I was like,
you're toasted. The arches of your feet are blazing. You can't. We're just all sitting here going, oh my god.
And then you have options going down the hill. You know what I mean? It's like, again, no offense to Howler,
Mhm.
but it's like there's only a couple of
Yep.
Yeah,
options
I think the
you're gonna do
differences
going
are
down.
though. It's like Snow Summit when we lived in San Diego. It was like you couldn't go all the time. It was like we had to like plan it.
yeah, so
It's
it's
a
like
whole day. Sometimes you wanted to stay the night up there just because it's a 2.5 hour drive.
Yep.
And so
people look forward to it.
it
the
is an
planning.
apples to oranges. It's
It
like
is.
riding here
Yes.
is like the beauty of it is it's just in your
You can just
backyard.
go.
Yeah,
yeah,
yep.
yeah.
And
And
but
same,
everything's short.
Yeah.
yeah,
know?
and same for Howler. That's a great point. Is that like you're not dedicating your entire day to it. It's like you
Yeah.
can go there,
Yep.
leave, come back, and like you're back. It's like
Yeah, you can day trip it.
you
for
can
sure.
day trip it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
100%.
it's like when you're talking about the apples and oranges comparison. It's like you have to play in that we don't have the elevation
Mhm.
and we don't necessarily have the fullest infrastructure yet.
Yep.
So eventually places like Howler and other places that are coming in
Yep.
around are gonna compete,
Yep.
but the apples to apples isn't gonna come for
Yeah.
another 5.
I still
Yeah.
think like
you know.
here though, man, just the progression opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's just
Mhm.
insane.
Yep.
And I think it's because, like your bike park, San Diego's area's bike park is, you got these 11-minute descents of, you start out and it's bermy and flowy jumps, technical, back to jumps,
Yep.
but and then some drops and stuff. To where here it's like, it's lone wolf.
Mhm.
Here's the tech
It's
line. Here's the
dragon
jump
scale.
Yeah.
line.
Yep.
It's-
Yeah.
Focus
It
on
is.
those
yeah,
things
and
a
it's
little more.
it's all specific, and
Yep.
it's like, but there's not a combination of everything.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe hand cut hollow has some of it, but it's still short.
Yep. Yep.
But
I mean, how many trails do we have that are over 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
not very many.
Not many,
I
yeah.
mean,
Not many.
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
I
no, I wasn't trying to knock
trade
it.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
no,
Like,
absolutely.
I think they do a phenomenal
Yeah.
job with the elevation you have, and it makes sense
Yep.
with the elevation. we
Yeah.
have.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
but it's just different. It's just different.
Yep.
It's
I think that adds to the apples and oranges, where it's like it's like where you're counting one on another, you can't count on the other.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like for instance, going to a big bike park, you're locked in that for that day.
Yeah.
Like that's
Oh,
it,
yeah.
that's the
That's your
thing
day.
you're doing
Yeah.
that day.
Yep.
Whereas like here,
I can go out for a ride for an hour and a half and have a blast.
yeah, and then
Mhm.
come back and
Yeah.
go get lunch,
Yeah.
meet up with somebody, maybe
Yeah.
And
even
then go
plan
hit a
another
different spot.
ride.
Yeah.
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 I've
Exactly.
done that
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that I
Accessibility and
yeah, and
That's
I want to advocate for both.
Yeah.
It's like,
Mhm.
hey, there's a time and a place for bike park day where you're just stuck there all day. You're
Yep.
hanging with the homies, and you're just you
Shredding.
have lunch, you have dinner at the end of the night.
Yeah.
But then there's also a place for Northwest Arkansas riding where you do a ride in the morning, you
Yeah.
have lunch, you go maybe meet up with somebody, then
Yeah.
you go out again, maybe
Yeah.
hit
And there's
the bike
so many
shop.
people here to ride
Yeah.
with. So, I could go ride with these 3 people, then go to the hub and be eating, and all of a sudden somebody else is hitting me up going, "Hey, you riding today?" And I'm like, "I already rode." Well, me and so-and-so are here.
Yes,
Yep.
totally.
All right, I'll be there. in a
All
minute.
right,
I guess.
I got 2
Yes.
bars left.
yeah.
It just like
Yeah.
provokes another ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
Yeah.
I definitely would never have ridden as much as I have here if
Yeah,
I lived
totally.
in Massachusetts. There was
Yeah.
no way around it. I mean,
No,
I had to drive 30
great.
to 40 minutes every time I went to ride my bike. Where here I can literally go out my back door. And
I
just-
love it. And even if like your core people that you ride with and everybody's like, "No, I can't ride. No, I can't ride."
Yeah.
And then you just go, "Well, I guess I'm just going to go out there. I'll run into somebody
Yeah.
and end up riding with them
Yep.
for an hour and a half."
Exactly.
And
Yep.
it's like guaranteed.
Yep.
So I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
So I think that it's proof that there's something here.
Yeah, for
know,
sure.
It's real.
Yep.
It's not something that's just like fabricated and
Yep.
and just made. It's like
It's not hype.
yeah, it's not just hype.
Yeah.
It's and same for the other places too, because like I think that a lot of people get kind of jaded or not jaded. They get like the echo chamber. They're stuck here. They're like, this is so nice. And
Yeah.
we love riding Northwest Arkansas, but I've had a lot of fun leaving Northwest Arkansas
for
and
sure.
riding other places.
Yep.
We're
You know?
so due for a road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time.
Definitely got
Killington?
It's quite the trip.
Yeah, right. A
It
little
was like
far.
20 hours.
Yeah, just a little bit. But honestly, like, I've wanted to ride up there.
Yeah.
I wanted to ride.
Those 3 I mean, they're all within 2 hours of each
Mhm.
other. So, I
Mhm.
mean, you can centrally locate up there and hit all 3 of those bike parks in a long
Right.
weekend, which is what me and my friends used to do every year. So,
Right.
it's a lot of
That'd
fun.
be Cool.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, those bike parks you can ask, some of the guys from Trailblazers, like Ethan, he'll tell you.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
like,
because they made a trip out.
Yeah, he was
not too
like-
long ago.
yeah, he was like, man, I can't believe you left that place. He's like, those trails are so good.
Well, and honestly, that's cool coming from them because like their job was assessing the
Yep.
trail situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And for them to say that, they were like, you left some like really good
Yeah.
riding.
Yep. 6 months of the year riding too, though. Don't forget that part.
Yeah.
But is also a testament of what you moved to.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Yep.
So I feel like all that being said, there is, was there any reservations moving here? Like when you were moving, you're like, am I leaving something that I'm?
I don't think I was ever worried too much about leaving what I had there, other than my family.
Yeah.
I
Of
wasn't too concerned. I was concerned that this wasn't the right place because I
Mhm.
had never been here. I moved here without ever visiting.
Wild.
So, yeah. I sold my car. I had a supercharged BRZ.
Yep.
So-
Super mad about that.
I sold my supercharger to buy my Jeffsy, and then I sold the BRZ to buy a shuttle bus.
Oh goodness.
Oh, no.
Look. I don't know if I'm up. I don't know if I can vouch for that. I think I would have had a hard time making that decision.
Yeah, it took a little while.
Yeah.
I drove with the supercharger for like about a year before I sold it. But yeah, so I
Bet that was fun.
I sold everything, bought a shuttle bus, loaded all my stuff, moved here completely sight unseen.
Wow.
I rented an Airbnb for a month. I was like, if I have that for a month, if I want to live here, I'll buy a house within that month. If I don't, I'm going somewhere else. So that's pretty much. I had Tennessee, I had North Carolina, I had all these other places on my thing, and
Yeah.
within the first weekend, I was buying a house here.
That's it, dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
I moved here in 03, sight unseen, so
Yeah.
I can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those places where that's the scary part is
Mhm.
like, is this gonna suck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it has all the recipe of
Yeah.
this is gonna be horrible.
Yeah, and like literally, I just knew mountain biking. I watched BKXC's videos. I don't know if you- I watched it. He did like the 50
Yeah, he
state
had a
shred.
decent. Yeah.
We watched
I've
all his
totally watched that
videos,
one.
and
Yeah.
when he came here, we were like, "This place looks pretty cool. Like, how do you feel about living there?" And me and my wife started chatting about it, and we were both looking for jobs, and we are like, "We're gonna look for the same job, doing the same thing, still not affording a house." All these things factored in. We are like, "Let's go live somewhere else." So and we just said, "Let's do it."
Man.
So it wasn't just like a flip of a switch. That was in February. I moved here in October, so
Sure.
Okay,
it was
just a lot
some
of
time
thinking about it.
Yeah,
Right,
planning, and I gave my job 8 months notice to fill my spot and all that.
8 months,
Mhm.
Yeah.
dude. What
Operations.
a stand-up dude.
It worked out great because they didn't hire somebody, so,
Yeah.
so they kept me on payroll when I was here.
Oh
Nice.
goodness!
Yeah.
And you were like still the operations manager.
Just doing it
Remote
from,
operations manager.
That's
You're like, I may be gone, but I still know what you guys need.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yep.
That's hilarious, dude.
Yep.
So what's the future of bike wraps? What do you have any big plans you're gonna do with the company?
No,
any
not
changes?
Really. No, just kind of doing the same. Just keep plugging away and protecting bikes. I'm mainly focusing on protection. The color change stuff is hit here and there, but
Yeah.
just keep doing that and see how it goes. Basically,
Well, it sounds like protecting bikes is like the main one. Like
Yeah.
that's where it really.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's ever
lands.
going to go away.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
you
I mean
gotta
the
do
cost
that.
of the bikes, the protecting the resale value, all those things. It's worth it to do.
Yeah,
Mhm,
for sure.
That peace of mind. You drop your bike and you're just like, oh, well, it's protected, so it's fine.
I took a different route and I just bought a cheap bike
And
and then like I don't mind throwing it.
Yeah.
but it's the same mentality though. It's like if you're gonna spend if you have an expensive bike and you want to like ride it aggressively, it's
Yeah.
like you want to protect that
Yeah,
thing.
for sure.
I
Yep.
mean, Scott's Jeffsy. Like I don't have too much experience with carbon bikes, but like the amount of damage that I've seen on your frame without wrap, I feel like there have been holes in it.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah. That bike taught me how to ride, so it's got its ass kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got a full ride wrap, on it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's scuffed up and stuff, and there's chips on the paint and stuff. And we were talking about it today because I was talking about selling that bike, and just coming up with a price for it. I was like going, that bike is still a great bike.
It's still a great bike. Yeah.
It's got plenty of miles on it. The frame doesn't look that great,
Yeah.
but it's not cracked or anything,
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, that bike is durable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, so it's like, but a lot, when you sell a bike, it's just all about appearance and the
Yep.
cosmetic.
That's exactly what
Yep.
you were saying
Yeah,
earlier.
and you can replace the pieces too. So sometimes just peeling off the old ones,
Mm-hmm.
Cleaning up scratches and stuff like that can really like straighten it out. Like there's a bike
I didn't
at my
think of that.
yeah, there's a
Yeah.
bike at my shop right now. The person just purchased it from Spoke Adventures.
Yeah.
So it was a rental bike.
Oh, rental.
But it was ride wrapped from day one.
Okay.
I peeled all the ride wrap off, and I mean the customer literally messaged me and she was like, "I'm really worried. Does it look good?" And I'm like, "It literally looks brand new because I peeled all the film off. I took a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. I cleaned up any scuff marks or anything that may have looked like it went through the film, and it was all clean. There's just a few spots with paint chips here and there, but it was stuff that would never been protected anyways. But the bike looks almost brand new, other than those paint chips here and there. So.
Yeah, my down tube got pretty messed up driving across country on a tailgate
Oh yeah.
and rubbed right.
Oh, yeah,
dude.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
recommend
So it's
putting
like that big.
putting a microfiber under the between the tailgate.
I did
pad.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I recommend that highly.
Dude, honestly,
It's just friction. You got to
Okay.
get rid of that friction.
Okay.
That's all it is.
man, I totally stabbed in the dark with the microfiber, but I was like, this is like designed to not mess up stuff when it
Yeah.
rubs. So like it's got to be something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally just a friction thing. Like-
So I just cut little pieces. Like
Yep.
instead of like having like a whole microfiber rag that
Oh,
was
yep.
sitting there, I just like cut a square,
Yep.
and like even that square was enough
Yeah. Yep.
to just
I also
mitigate.
sell Ride Wrap has they call them shuttle armor, and it's just like a black piece of rubber
the square
that you can stick on
like
there.
a little, not square, but it's like a
Rectangle.
oblong
Yep.
thing.
And you can put that on if you use the tailgate pad.
Yep.
I usually have those in stock too if you ever need one.
No joke, I stopped tailgating.
Yeah.
I gotta. People ask me all the time. It's one of the. It seriously is the biggest question that I have about my truck, because like there's nothing done to my truck, but they're like, so why do you have a bike rack and a truck? Like, can't you just put it in the back?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm gonna scratch it up.
Yeah.
And I've already scratched it up a bunch. I don't know why I'm like so worried about it, but it
Yeah.
was like,
You don't want to make it worse.
yeah, there was a day where I was just like, enough.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do this anymore. And
Yeah.
it's like when you start seeing like my last bike, raw metal.
Yeah.
When you see raw metal on your bike, you're like, all right, I screwed up.
Yeah.
I've
This has gone too far.
I've done wrong here.
Yeah. I have some of that on the Jeffsy.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh well.
Oh well.
Yeah.
It's always that first wreck where you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yep.
one of my first ones was at Howler on those stupid trucks.
Oh, the truck. Yes.
Yeah, we're just sitting back, and Felix was way over in the corner, and he goes, "Hey, that's my buddy's bike," and I just went,
What?
Hey, he's not talking about me. And I look over, and sure enough, somebody's handlebar, the brake
lever.
was just
There's a brake
banging
lever.
on it and just scuffed all the paint.
And it wasn't even like it was. No, okay, that was the same run. While that was happening, my bike was getting rubbed.
Yeah.
And we were just like, oh god, and I just remember like getting at the top, and I took my bike off, and like part of my my lever, like the frame of the brake lever, was rubbed through the metal and shaped.
Oh wow.
Like it rubbed so much that it cut a divot
Oh wow.
into it.
You know what it was? It was, we get on the truck, and it was full, and there was one guy left, and he said, I'll just stand there, and he held his bike in a wheelie.
Yeah.
and they let him, and nobody really thought much about it. And then all of a sudden, he's just letting his bike rest on the bikes, and it's just
That's what it was?
That's what it was.
Oh,
and
goodness.
Felix said something to him, and then we all looked, and we're like, "Bro, what are you doing?" He just got tired and just let his bike lean on everybody else's.
Well,
and it's just banging around.
In defense, that climb.
That's
I mean,
brutal.
Like, oh yeah. So afterwards, I told the guy that worked there, I go, "Hey man, like you probably shouldn't let." And I showed him what happened to my bike. I go, "You let that guy just hold his bike in a wheelie," and I go, "He was destroying people's bikes."
Mine included.
Yeah. And I was like, not a good idea.
Yeah, that part definitely drives me crazy. That the shuttle, the way it is,
Yeah.
the way those things are, the way they're sitting, and the way you have to load them. It's just
That's
it's
it.
tough.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
about the design of the racks because they just didn't leave enough breathing room.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
And I mean,
And those trucks just don't absorb any
Yeah.
of that stuff.
there's
military
zero
trucks.
suspension.
Yeah.
Metal to metal suspension.
Yeah, it's just gnar.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we need to go back. I feel like the one thing I will give Howler is that I know they're continuously working there, and I feel like, Max did a great job of like pitching the vision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
For sure.
so like I feel like when they get those, the other hubs,
Yep.
because there's supposed to be some other
Some
hubs
expansions.
that expand,
Yep.
and maybe it presents some different things that appeal.
Yep.
And I mean, like, I just know that our biggest complaint was jump size.
Yeah.
Like that everything that we were hitting,
Overshooting.
we were overshooting.
Yeah,
like
yep.
everybody was overshooting.
Yep. Yeah, I did the 12-hour endurance race over there.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Not this past year, but the year before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember those two jumps. I don't remember the name of the trail.
Uh-huh.
I hit it 50 times, so I should have remembered. But
Hippie Cowboy, maybe?
yeah, Hippie Cowboy.
That's
Yeah.
one of them. Yeah.
I just
yeah.
kept like
That was
sending
the
it to
worst
flat.
one.
I'm like,
Yes. and I mean, I don't know what it is that's actually catering to that. You know, I could speculate all day long, but like I feel like they just there just needs to be more landing.
Yeah.
I could never figure it out. It's like you look down and you see yourself passing all of it, and then you're like, boom,
Yeah.
Dude,
and then you don't have the speed for the next one.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it is Hippie Cowboy. This is the one that there's like two jumps like back to back.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And one time I swear that I somebody said something about speed, and I was like, oh, I've been here before. I'll tow us in, right? And I'm just kind of like a little like anxious, like, yeah, let's rip it. You know, I'm just kind of
I've been here
farting
before.
around.
Yeah.
I'm hot dogging all over the place and, schlarping and nose bonking stuff. And I get to the first jump and I hit it and I'm like, you're the thing. Oh no. You're like watching the landing pass
you by, and then your nose just starts dipping.
Yeah.
And no joke, I landed at the start of the
next-
launch of the next jump.
Yeah.
And I was like, can you just gap to the landing of the next one?
Or just combine these two. And
That's what I'm
make a long
saying. Like, just
table.
make like a
Yeah,
long
just make
table.
one jump. Yeah.
Call it,
Yeah.
dude.
Anyway.
Call it a day,
But
dude.
still, it was fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, it's. I think it's cool that it's like it's Ozark, but not in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that's what's cool.
Yep.
And
yeah, I don't want to be like just totally talking smack about the place. It's a fun place. I had
It
a
is
good
fun.
time.
I had a blast there.
we like you guys. We
Yeah,
we
do.
like Howler.
Yeah, for sure.
Just some of the jumps were easy to
If we can
overshoot.
address that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's good
I
stuff.
agree on that one.
Good. Well, yeah, man, dude, we're approaching that 2 hour mark, man. We did it.
Mhm.
We made it to the end.
Sweet.
And it was action packed with knowledge and rap.
Yeah, tons of good
Dude.
information,
Yeah.
and you should get your bike wrapped with Andrew at Bike Wraps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
he
you.
knows what he's doing.
How does one do that? How do you? What's the process in which you do that?
You can text me or go on my Instagram, message me through Instagram.
Gotcha.
Instagram's probably the most common place
Gotcha.
for customers to message me.
Cool. I'm gonna plug your website, bike-wraps.com,
Yep.
because you have a website and people should visit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put stuff on there a while
I
ago.
know. That's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like people often, and even our own owners of these companies, will exclude the website.
There's a
that they own.
contact form on there.
Yeah, right.
Just
And I think one of the key features is you're very good at assembling, disassembling, and reassembling your bikes properly, and I think that's huge.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
With
You need to know how to work on bikes.
yeah, and
I
I
guess.
think a lot of people don't,
Yeah.
and they just put it back together. Here you go,
Yep.
and I think it's important that you have a shred ready bike after your ride wrapping.
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
you know what I mean?
Most you're excited. You want to go ride it. Like,
Yeah,
you should
like
be
immediately.
ready to ride.
And you shouldn't have to worry about anything. So
Right.
that's the key point in my book.
Totally.
Mhm.
Totally. Dude, we did it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
Right, awesome. Thanks, man.
Made it to the studio in the sticks.
Yep.
And man, there's more to come.
Yeah.
We ride all the time. The people don't know this, but we ride all. We ride. So
We kind of know him.
we know you already.
Yeah.
But our people
Yeah.
don't. So
Yeah.
it was like it's cool for them to like know this, and also to know that a service like this exists.
Yeah.
Because I think that one of the things that a new biker would experience, especially one that it maybe comes from automotive and wants to customize.
Yep.
You're like, man, I like this bike, but I definitely don't like salmon.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
like this bike only comes in salmon.
Yeah.
And I would like it to be something else.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so the fact that potential is out there and that they're not having to paint it
Yep.
and kind of go to this point of like no return.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't know.
And the bikes are marked down, so take some of that savings and customize your bike
There you go.
There you
and
go.
protect it all in one shot.
Yep.
If you didn't catch that sales pitch,
Yeah.
you don't play baseball. All
right.
right, we're gonna get out of here. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Right
We'll
on.
see you guys.